spends an awful lot of time creating new personas to follow, and I mean, he claims to be a regular listener. He just likes to follow around and point out everything that's wrong, and then he gets. I have no problem with that. It's when he gets really vile and personal and sexual. At which point I'm just like, I don't need to. I'd rather do the show than try to police comments. He's not the only one, though. There's like 3 of them. Yeah. Because I don't think he's the same guy who calls.
No.
I think the guy who calls is the Dollar General guy.
2 guys call.
No, okay, so the other guy is, yeah. No, that guy's just crazy. The other guy's Bomber Mike or whatever his name was. The other guy who calls was his. You'll hear him on Ask the Governor every single month. And apparently we've all died 6 times from COVID at this point.
There's 137 people posting.
Yeah. My stomach is a rumblings. Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah.
That's hearing the inside baseball, how they put the show together with their that's so cool. You're watching an episode and you go back and listen to it, the podcast, and it just breaks down every show.
Start your day with Baton Rouge's hub for information and opinion.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion.
Here is Brian Haldane.
606 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Taylor Sharp producing. We call it Mornings with Brian Haldane, and we are off and running, kicking your weekend off strong. Got a good lineup today. Got a good show lined up for you today. We are ready to take you into a Friday. First of all, Haggai Davis is going to be in for a Cup of Tech Gumbo. That's at 6:35. We got a lot to talk about. Facebook may have made a little boo-boo when it comes to who and what they're banning. Also, hackers paying money back. That's going to be a humbling story, to say the least. That and more coming up in Cup of Tech Gumbo at 6:35. In our 7 o'clock hour, Pennington's wrapping up another study where they have determined a lot more about your metabolism. You do lose your metabolism with age, but probably not the age you were thinking of. We're going to talk with Dr. Jennifer Rood from the Pennington Biomedical Research Center at 7:35. In the 8 o'clock hour, Michelle Southern. You know her from Eagle 98.1. She hosts afternoons on Eagle 98.1. And also the host of the Only in Louisiana podcast. Her latest episode is about Congresswoman, or with, I should say, Congresswoman Julia Letlow. We had the Congresswoman on, about a week or so ago, to talk about her story and her push for vaccinations and why and how it got so personal. I have not yet listened to this episode, but I have. This is the only one I haven't listened to yet. Everyone Michelle has done so far has been a home run, so I have no doubt this one will be as well. But let's find out what did Michelle learn from the Congresswoman that maybe we did not. And of course, we have Foodie Friday to round things out. The folks from Blend will be in this morning. I believe we're talking a little filet carpaccio. I believe there might have been mention of a cheese board. There is going to be talk of wine, if not wine consumed, as part of your morning drive. Well, that's a weird thought. Nonetheless, though, we'll talk pairings, we'll talk cheese, we'll talk meat, lots of beef from the Foodie Friday segment presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Bat and leadoff, though, we're supposed to be looking at your latest COVID-19 numbers, and I've got a 100% frozen computer. So let me see if I can't do this from my cell phone instead. Give me 1 second here. All right. Sorry, I was hoping beyond hope it was going to be refreshed by this point. But no, that was not the case. Louisiana Department of Health reports 5,268 COVID-19 cases as of yesterday. That's not right. That's the exact same number as the day before. Bear with me. My apologies, y'all. That's got to be right. That tweet's from yesterday. Okay. 5,268 reported as of yesterday. The percentage of positivity, the percentage of those that are in congregate settings versus community spread, close to 97% are community spread. 2,901 individuals are hospitalized with COVID across Louisiana. That's still running around 90 to 91% are unvaccinated in that regard. 54 COVID-related deaths were reported yesterday. And also coming down yesterday, and we're going to talk about this a lot at 7:15, Mayor LaToya Kant down in New Orleans has determined that all your papers, you're going to have to show proof of vaccination to get into anywhere, basically. Any restaurants, any public buildings, any venues, either proof of vaccination or take a test and pop negative on the scene. Your papers aren't in order. What do you mean? Oh, my papers are in order. What a terrible movie. Anyway, New Orleans and San Francisco are the first two out the blocks to require vaccination passports to get into places. Wow, two cities that are pretty reliant upon tourism, to say the least. But there it is right there. New Orleans firing out the blocks saying you need to have a vaccine passport to get into restaurants, bars, public venues. That would include the Superdome. So where does that go from here? Also, Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome in Baton Rouge says, no, there's no plans for that here. No plans for that right now. Now, that could change. That could certainly change as more cities hop on board or this becomes a bigger, more prevalent thing. But as of right now, no, it's not in the cards here. 611, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We've got a lot of ground to cover in our sports segment, so I'm going to go ahead and take this break a couple seconds early. Actually, before that we take the break, got to tell you about the folks over at Mathern's Market, 2 locations, downtown on 3rd Street, or Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. It's the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. It's right across the street from Tiger Stadium. School will be back in soon enough at LSU. And when school is back in at LSU, well, first of all, you got to stock up the kids' dorms with as many groceries and goodies as possible. But before you do that, do they need a dorm fridge? Do they need any of the minor appliances? Because, you're not going to have a full kitchen in a dorm. Do they need any of the minor appliances to get them by? Mathern's has got you covered to start off the fall semester. Just swing by. They are a full-service grocery store. So buy the fridge, fill up the fridge, all in one stop. Oh, and by the way, on a regular basis, download the Mathern's app. Download the Mathern's app and save yourself some time to where you can do your grocery shopping before you even get to the grocery store, not to mention the fact that you won't have to mask up if you're staying in your car. Mathern's app is available right now. 2 locations. It works at both locations, downtown on 3rd or Nicholson in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from Tiger Stadium. Swing by and see Mathern's today. All right, quick break. Coming back, we're going to talk a little bit about Thursday Night Football, a little bit about what the Saints have got going on Saturday, and cool thing happened in baseball last night, but was it cool for everybody? We're talking about it next.
I wanted my job. If my mother got sick, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I got vaccinated for my daughter. The reason why I got the COVID vaccine was because of my newborn child. All right, I got the concert.
Thank you. We might not get to that till 6:25. Let's see.
Hi, this is Coach Skip Bertman. As I've seen in sports and in life, injuries happen. When I have aches and pains, I go to the best.
Troy says, will panhandlers in Nolan, San Francisco be required to show proof of vaccination or negative test to carry on their trade? That's a darn good question, Troy. Darn good question. Clinton says, is that legal? We don't know yet. We don't know if it's legal. Attorney General Jeff Landry seems to feel that it's not, but we know his MO. Fling a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So.
Brian Kilmeade, weekday mornings from 10 to 1 on Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Currently, the roadways are clear. No slowdowns, backups, delays, breakdowns, anything like that. Speeds normal around the outlet mall if you're going to, say, Prairieville or Skybridge. Everything clear on the interstate surface streets like 73 look great this morning. So far, anyway, no trouble at 621 and 74. Here's the Mississippi River Bridge. We have a theme.
We have a theme?
Pretty orange hue.
What, for the bump music? What are you, Chuck P? We'll hear it in a second.
This report is brought to you by Shawbells, where you can get up to $100 off install with the purchase of 40 Bridgestone or Firestone tires. Visit ShawbellsTire.com to learn more.
Take a deeper dive into the stories that are important to you with the Fox News Rundown. Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
You missed. Now, your theme is Friday the 13th, but that's Halloween.
I'm just doing Halloween style music. It's scary music.
Okay.
You know, Friday the 13th is only one movie. I can't do that like 10 times.
Yeah,
That
I'm
would
aware.
have been too obvious to start over. again.
I'm aware.
My brother was born on Friday the 13th.
Really? Well, we're only 6 hours into it, so he's going to have a good day.
Not this Friday the 13th.
616 Talk 1073 FM WBRP. All right, hop in on YouTube and let us know if Taylor's swinging and missing on this one. That's
Not swinging and missing. Stop trying to downplay.
I'm not trying to downplay it.
It's Friday the 13th.
It is Friday the 13th. That was Halloween.
I'm just playing spooky music.
All right.
It's not. You
All right.
can't play Friday the 13th bumper.
I
coming
got
back
you.
into every break.
I got you. Happy
Plus,
Friday.
that one's way cooler.
That's the legit really good song.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if that one doesn't send chills up your spine no matter what you're doing, then there's something wrong with you. But, yeah, love that song. Yes, happy Friday the 13th, everybody. Okay, we got a lot of ground to cover here, and time is short. Saints are playing the Ravens on Saturday. We will get to that in just a second. First, I got to recap what went on last night in the NFL. Football team almost got a win, man. Football almost won, but the Patriots beat football last night. Was not expecting that to happen. New England 22, Washington 13 is your first final score in the preseason. Steelers topped the Eagles 24-16 last night as well. I would break down the box scores, but really you're not going to know a whole lot about anybody that played last night except for maybe Joe Flacco in Philly. Tonight there's 3 more games on the slate. You got the Tennessee Titans and the Atlanta Falcons. You got Buffalo is at Detroit, and the Dallas Cowboys are at the Cardinals. I want to say the first 2 start at 6. The last one starts at 9. 2 of the 3 of them are on the NFL Network. I'm not sure where the third one's at. Saints are going to take on the Ravens on Saturday, so tomorrow. 6 p.m. is where you will find that game. Going to be hard-pressed to find guys to catch the football for New Orleans. Mike Thomas is, of course, out for, the first third of the season or so with his ankle injury and surgery, or recovery from surgery. But beyond that, Traquan Smith still listed as questionable, and Jalen McCleskey is now on injured reserve as of yesterday. Awesome. It's going to be Marquez Callaway all day long, and a ton from Alvin Kamara. I don't know how the preseason is going to play out for the Saints because traditionally preseason, game 1, you don't see starters. Game 2, a little bit more. Game 3, a big chunk, and then game 4, you bench everybody just to find out who is going to make the final cut to be that 50 through 53rd man on the roster. Different this year in a number of aspects for the Saints. Number 1, you've only got 3 preseason games. You don't have 4. Number 2, you're replacing Drew Brees, which means I'm guessing you're going to see you're not going to see a whole lot of Ian Book, maybe. I don't know. At quarterback, you got to get Jameson Taysom as many reps as possible to make the right choice when it comes to the start of the season. So, that being said, it's going to be fun to watch. Also, if you're watching Baltimore, you will find Patrick Queen. Taylor will have more on him later on in the show. Right now, we got to get you to the Fox Business Report on Talk 107.3. You'll have more on Patrick Queen later on in the show. Oh, man.
You mean it should have been defensive rookie of the year?
No, just Rookie of the Year.
They give an offense.
I don't care. Just he was the best player of everyone playing.
But
their
Chase
first
Young's
year.
6'8", so give it to him.
Yeah,
He had 4 sacks last year.
yeah. All right, hang on to that Costner for right here. My stomach will not stop rumbling. Hey, Christy's in this morning. Morning, Christy.
The Delta variant is spreading fast. All this week, Statesfield details calls for new lockdowns, more masks, and even vaccination mandates. Watch Statesfield tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. He reveals the truth and the big dangers. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems like DirecTV, Dish, and Xfinity.
Beef council.
Free on Samsung.
What's your next one?
Beef.
Yeah, that one.
Download the free Newsmax.
It's what's for lunch.
What's for breakfast?
It is. A lot more pork for breakfast. I think beef, the folks with the beef council wouldn't mind saying, you know what? You go have some bacon. We're going to see your ass at lunch and dinner.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15
Babbel.
minutes, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Our first date, we had masks on and kept 6 feet apart. Now, we're a lot closer.
Just like Cliff and Dab, thousands of singles over 50 found
Oh, really?
match on Silver Singles last year.
Okay.
20 years old again, and I'm pretty sure she feels the same way.
Rediscover the magic of dating with Silver Singles, the exclusive community for
I would say so, yeah.
sign up today.
Yeah, Facebook was like a minute 15. Okay.
Radio. Silversingles.com/radio.
Now, your WBRZ traffic
The month of July.
Fouché.
How long is it?
On YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching it. I'm just,
Orange hue? An orange hue? Ashley's in mid-season form this morning.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
I think she went to Bonneville? Could be wrong about that. No, I know she's from down there. I just can't remember where she went to school. My daughter's meeting people, like meeting new friends at SJA, and it's infinitely frustrating to me because the first question I'm going to ask anybody is, where did you go to school before this? Like, and she's like, I'm like, where'd they go to school? Like, did they go to St. Jude, St. George, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
We're back.
I met a girl named Bella. Where'd she go to school? I don't know. But she's got a cow. I'm like, how do you not ask? You put it on. How do you? Okay, that's just scary. That's not even music. That's just scary.
That's your beloved Friday the 13th theme song.
I know. Friday the 13th was a terrible theme song. Fantastic series of movies.
Here's
all
the
8 of
thing.
them. All 8 of them were just top-notch cinema.
When you're my age
Yeah.
and they redo them with today's effect,
Yeah.
and you go back and watch the originals,
Did they redo?
it ruins them for you.
No.
I've never
Because
seen
as
any
good
of
as the originals are, like they are, but the effects are just, so bad
Yeah.
that it ruins it for you.
I've never seen any of those movies. I don't know the
Why?
Halloween's, Friday 13th. I've never liked the slasher movies.
All right. Friday the 13th is its own breed because they're just fun. There's nothing scary about them. There's a couple of jump scares, but overall, they're not like they're. I would recommend starting with Jason Takes Manhattan and work backwards. Like that's
Definitely
it's
the best
so
one of the collection.
Comical. Oh, it's so good.
Really?
No, it's terrible. It's awful. Get yourself a bottle of really bad booze, get hammered, and then start watching.
Yeah.
It's bad. Hey, last night, by the way, that was Haggai Davis you were hearing from. He's going to be in for Cup of Tech Gumbo in just a minute. Last night in Major League Baseball, the Chicago White Sox took on the New York Yankees, and they weren't in either of those states. They were in Iowa, in a cornfield, no less. Kevin Costner was there as well. It was the Field of Dreams game. The Field of Dreams game. Kevin Costner asking, is this heaven? Well, he threw it out there.
It's perfect. We've kept our promise. Major League Baseball has kept its promise. The dream's still alive. There's probably just one question to answer. Is this heaven? I don't think I heard you. Is this heaven? Yes, it is.
Everything about the way that game played out was fun. From the players walking out through the cornfield to Aaron Judge being bigger than the corn. I mean, that's a big dude. He's walking through corn stalks, and it's like you could see the brim of his cap over them. DJ LeMahieu, no, he disappears until he hops out. But Judge is he's a menacing figure. Everything from that all the way up to every run that was scored on the night was scored on a home run. A 9-8 final score. I believe it was 9-8. Chicago wins in a walk-off home run. I mean, everything about that was fun, and the concept of going to Iowa for this, the concept of the Field of Dreams game, everything about it was fun. But I started to think about it. I'm like, Major League Baseball is hurting right now with people who are younger than me. I'm not old by any stretch. I'm 44. But Major League Baseball is hurting right now more in Taylor's generation than mine. Field of Dreams came out in 1989. 89. Let's see, I was 13 at the time. 12 to 13, depending on when in 89 it came out. Field of Dreams, if you were my age or of my generation, last night was perfect. But if you are, let's say, 35 or younger, what's the likelihood that you've seen Field of Dreams? It goes down a good bit. Taylor, have you ever seen Field of Dreams?
I have not.
Okay.
But I just haven't gotten around to it. Like, I know the movie.
Right.
I've watched a bunch of other old sports movies. I've just never gotten around to it.
Kevin Costner actually says that the have a catch line was terrible. You don't get this because you haven't seen the movie. The have a catch line was terrible. It's one that's always stood out to me. It's one of the worst lines in cinematic history. But the Field of Dreams game, if you are of the generation that watched Field of Dreams when it came out, has followed Field of Dreams, has been a fan of that movie for years and years and years, last night was everything you thought it was going to be. Haggai said, get your mic. Cut him on, please. Yes, it was perfect. Was it not?
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, and I want to see them do more of this.
Yes.
But at the same time, though, do you think last night did anything to recruit a younger generation of fans?
No, because the younger generation of fans don't watch TV.
Okay, that's fair too. Well, it's live sports are live sports.
But I mean, like my kids, neither of my kids have a TV in their apartments.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, if they don't watch it on the computer screen or on their phones, it doesn't happen.
Well, this happened on your phone too.
Were they streaming it on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
maybe they were, but so I've seen that movie 100 times. It's one of my all-time favorites.
Is the have a catch line terrible?
No, not at all.
Oh, I hate that line. Who says that? Let's have a catch.
Maybe the way he delivered it, but I mean, I put it on Facebook last
You
night.
want to go throw the ball?
I would.
Let's say you say. You want to go throw the ball?
Have a catch.
I know. I'm nitpicking here. I don't want to detract from how great it was, but here's where I want to go with this, and I want feedback on YouTube. What else can Major League Baseball be doing to recruit a younger fan base, to recruit that next generation of fans that is flocking to the NBA, that is already in lockstep with the NFL, but has fallen off from Major League Baseball? What can they be doing to get those guys, the younger generation in?
I don't think they have it. I don't think you can, because it's not geared towards that 18 to 35-year-old crowd.
Could be, though. Could be. The home runs help.
Yeah.
Offense sells. Yeah. Offense sells.
Chicks dig the long ball.
That's exactly. So does speed helps, too. In fact, the author we had on a week ago today, he wrote a book about the 100th anniversary of the first broadcast of a baseball game, was saying we didn't used to have 4.5 hour long games. It used to be under 3. And when you look at an NFL game, which runs a little bit over 3, if you get a baseball game under 3, you're going to keep a lot more people's attention. But it's also this, and we didn't even get to the whole enhanced unemployment thing. We'll do that later in the show. It's also this, personalities. And I believe baseball has them right now and can attract more and more fans by utilizing their personalities. We got to take a quick break for news, traffic, weather. When we come back, Cup of Tech Gumbo is coming your way on Talk 107.3 FM. Oh, hell. The news was running on the radio while we were talking.
The news just came on.
Dwayne says news is running on radio while y'all. He texted me.
Jesus, it's probably the stupid Fox Business thing in the background. But I'm just going to have to cut that off manually every single morning. Yeah, I was like, what news? I just kicked it on. Like the pot wasn't even on, but it's probably Fox News in the background. Fox News fires off whether I have the pot on or not. Sorry, I didn't have it in external.
No. It's you don't need it in external.
Because I was like, what news?
You shouldn't have it in external.
I'm going to be here a lot.
I'm Jim Shannon in the Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge newsroom. Lead test scores were down about 5% last school year, and the State Department of Education hopes to boost those scores back up through the Louisiana Comeback Campaign. Superintendent of Education Kate Brumley says the program has
It was Fox Business.
It was Fox Business.
well-being of students, recovery, and acceleration.
For whatever reason, the same Fox Business comes on at 30 after.
So we only missed the last minute of the segment. That's fine.
Well,
I mean, it's not fine. We'll get it fixed, but
yeah.
okay.
Because I was like, what news?
And this is an automatic command that fires it off, right?
Yeah, like the pot's not on.
Okay.
That's why I was confused. I forgot it. I hadn't done it though. It doesn't do it every day. But you know what? I have been turning it off every morning.
Like physically turning it off?
Manually in the thing, and I just forgot this morning.
Okay. Well, there's no reason for it to turn on.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. There should be no command that turns it on. There should be nothing that triggers it or fires it off. I got to get to the bottom of this because you pot it up manually at 6:20, right?
Yeah.
And then pot it down manually at 6:21:30.
It's been off the whole time.
Right. No, I know. Which means that there's something that's taking it over in the computer. It's not even running through the board. It's going straight to this. There's got to be something fixed, and I bet you it's on the receiver. I bet you it skips past wide orbit, because it clearly skips past the board. This probably starts at the receiver and fires off. which means we're going to need. Hey, T-Bob, what's happening? Which means that we're going to have to get Cade and Bo in on this one.
You see, it hadn't done it the last few days, but
No,
I've also been turning it off, like for precautions.
Yeah.
I just forgot this one. So you wrote the news. It's nothing.
Still no major delays out there. Really no minor delays. Everything quiet so far this morning. It's a nice way to kick off your Friday. The Black Ferry is in service. They typically take that. You're good to go. To Kenner, 51 minutes. No issues on the Spillway Bridge. Problem free on the Atchafalaya Basin as well. 45.
You can almost hear her say, Kenna.
Right now over to the shoulder.
Kenna, bruh.
A little bit.
There's a car stop, but it's not causing any delays. It's over to the side of the roadway. Let's check it out together. See what's going on. He's out here, and it looks like someone may be having some car trouble, possibly. So at this time,
Interesting. This new character who calls himself Easy Shift. Imagine who he is. I never blocked yesterday's guy. I mean, you didn't have to create a whole new persona again, a whole new fake person again. But he says, let's have a catches from the era. The movie came out in '89, but it was about more like the Shoeless Joe Jackson era. So, the Black Sox scandal from way back when. So early 1900s, like the teens.
Yes, the 19.
Black Sox were 1910, weren't they?
1918.
1918? Okay. I don't know, I wasn't born yet. This is my grandfather used to say it all the time. See, not mine. But his grandfather's probably older than mine.
1919.
1919 was the Black Sox. Okay. Yeah, where was Ray Liotta last night, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, great to have Kevin Costner, but
Tim Busfield.
Tim Busfield's not.
Who was his wife?
Oh, you would ask that. Shit. I don't know. All right. I'm not.
Amy Madigan. We could have had James Earl Jones.
Hey.
Up there.
Well, I thought he passed.
Did he? No, he's still alive. Or he's not listed as dead yet on his profiles.
No, he's alive.
He's 90 years old.
Troy says baseball doesn't have a lot of brash, arrogant players with shoe and apparel deals like the NBA or NFL. But they've got characters, though. They've got followable characters. Yes.
Who? And who's a guy? Who's a guy that's like controversial in the baseball?
Not controversial, but fun to follow. Alex Bregman is the.
Okay, I love Alex Bregman. If you're not an LSU fan, do you really care about Alex Bregman? Honestly.
Well, and also he plays for Houston, so it's
Yeah,
always going to be garbage
that's my
can
point.
talk.
Like, do you
No,
really
it's going to be
care?
garbage can talk. So
Yeah, like that's tainted as well. Like, do you actually?
yeah.
Like, I love Alex Bregman, but seriously, like if you're not an LSU fan, you probably don't care about Alex Bregman. He's not a big personality.
My Mets guy that won the home run derby.
Pete Alonso.
Alonso.
I love Pete Alonso. Not a big personality.
Did you see him after?
Okay, that's great. But again, you got to get him to watch the home run derby first.
See, I don't miss the home run derby. I don't watch the All-Star game, but I don't miss the home run derby. That's appointment television for me.
Baseball has to be more flashy. The light show that Alabama put in their football stadium that everybody hates.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball needs that
Yeah.
in every stadium.
Yeah.
They do. I don't like it, but that's what they need.
You just don't get it. I don't have your head for science, so I'm not going to be able to help much.
For a full serving, check out Tech Gumbo, presented by Cardinal Capital, Saturday and Sunday at 4.
We got 30 years worth of files right here on this computer that are going to bring you down.
A Cup of Tech Gumbo on Talk 107.3.
I'm sorry. Wrong pass.
638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time for Cup of Tech Gumbo. Time to welcome in Haggai Davis. What's happening, man?
Just ready for another Cup of Tech Gumbo?
Darn right. All right, we got 4 different stories to talk about today. I got to start off with Facebook, though.
Yeah.
Facebook shuts out NYU academics research on political ads. This the story reads, Facebook has shut down the personal accounts of a pair of NYU researchers and shuttered their investigation into misinformation spread through political ads on their social network. Facebook says the researchers violated their terms of service and were involved in unauthorized data collection from its massive network. The academics, however, say the company is attempting to exert control on research that paints it in a negative light. This is a fun battle.
Because only Facebook is allowed to scrape the data from Facebook users.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Other people.
Right.
Yeah, this is bad for Facebook. I mean, Facebook has screwed up so many things.
They really have. They really have. But they're a giant and Napoleon at the same time.
Oh, they are so
such a little man's complex. Zuckerberg has
really is so bad, and so the fact that they're sitting there, they're complaining about an NYU research, and what they did was they created an app. They allowed people to download and sign off saying, yes, you can follow track me on Facebook and see what ads pop up and why.
So they got permission from the users, not from Facebook.
Yes. So the users gave specific, and it was detailed, not 13,000 word terms and conditions. It was, do you give us permission to follow you on Facebook to see what ads come up for research?
I love it.
And they said yes. And Facebook said, no, you can't do that. And they even, they were blaming the Cambria story from several years back when they were, the political, back in 2016, was it? Where
I don't remember.
They said, look, the FTC says, we've got to shut you down. And the FTC came out and said, no, you can't blame this one on us. This is on you, Facebook.
Right.
And so it's just a bad look for Facebook. And they just they've blown off so many toes. They're
Okay, so it's got to come around to this question eventually. Why are they still what they are? Why is it that Facebook persists as the dominant social media in our world when clearly we all have problems with it? We all get mad at it. The content that's on Facebook, I don't think I can go 2 hours without, or not 2, I'm sorry, not 2 hours, 2 scrolls through Facebook without finding at least 75% is just complaints. 75% of Facebook is people that are just mad at other people.
Yep.
At least in my feed. Maybe it's not like that in other people's feeds. I remember when folks were like, I don't need Facebook. I don't need people putting pictures of their food. I want that again. I want to go back to that because your take on the vaccine or your take on the mask versus your take on the vaccine or your take on the mask doesn't matter to me. It's all we've all taken it as a self-important political pedestal that we can all hop on, or soapbox that we can all hop on.
Facebook has become the portal where I want you to agree with me.
Right.
Platform.
Right.
And it's amazing. They're still adding more and more people. They're almost up to 3 billion users on a planet with only 7 billion people on it. Only 7 billion. But almost half of the population of the world is on Facebook.
Right. That's the part that I don't understand. Why it continues to grow, why we continue to flock to it when we all have problems with it. It's like everyone agrees. Nobody likes this thing anymore. We're all on the same page here. Nobody wants to be here. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
It's like that train wreck. You just can't. You can't not watch.
It really is, isn't it? I was talking to a friend yesterday. I was texting, not yesterday, Wednesday. I was texting back and forth with a friend. He's like, wanted to comment on your Facebook post. I was filling in for Jay in the afternoon, and I was asking about me and Chuck P were doing a segment on the drummer versus the DJ, and I was asking for best slow song to end the night at a wedding.
Oh, I saw that post.
I said post your song title and your zip code. I meant to say area code. Because there was an Aaron Neville tie in here, and the 504 was going to be different. But he comes back to me via text and says, I can't post because I'm in Facebook jail. And I'm like, this is your third time this year, man. You're a Facebook recidivist. Why? And he's like, I was in this commenting on somebody who was talking about how taking a vaccine violates his rights or something to that. He goes, I called the guy a dip, you know what, and I got 30-day suspension. And I'm like, was it worth it? Was it at the end of the day, did you change his mind? Did he change yours? Has your mind ever been changed in a Facebook argument? And yet we continue to do it. And we all hate each other in real life because of what we see on social media.
No one has ever won a political argument on Facebook.
One person has, Mark Zuckerberg. He's the only one that wins here. Because the more we comment, the more we post, and the more we share, the more those ads cost. Yep. And the more those ads cost, the more he makes. That's that, and yeah, outside of Mark Zuckerberg, no one's ever won.
No.
You agree? Do you agree with me? No? Well, then I'm going to shout, and then I'm going to leave.
And I'm going to block you.
Right.
I'm going to unfriend you and move on to find
Just
somebody else who will echo back to me my beliefs.
And it's about everything.
Yeah.
It's about whether you're talking about
whether you're
politics,
a cat person or a dog person.
Right.
Oh, I don't like cats. I don't like you anymore.
But that's the beauty of the system, though, is we're supposed to be able to filter things to where we can have a more pleasant experience and get rid of the crazies. And it went from getting rid of the crazies to everyone who isn't me is crazy.
Yeah.
It baffles me. And yet we keep going back.
Can't pull our eyes away from it.
No. Twitter is more of it's less of a back and forth and more of just a one-sided. It's not communication. It's back and forth. It's just shouting out. And somehow that seems more appealing to me because I just keep going. Just keep scrolling.
I prefer Twitter, absolutely. But I use Twitter looking for news feeds, basically. Look for
Same,
headlines.
Same.
I'm not looking for political banter. I'm not looking for conversations. I want to know what's happening. And Twitter is so real time to things, where Facebook is people still arguing about everything from 2 years ago.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, some hackers have their tail between their legs. And a pretty fat check there, too. We're going to talk about that next. Before we get to that break, though, I got to tell you about the folks over at Mooyah. I'll be at Mooyah for lunch today, the Blue Bonnet at Highland location. Looking forward to this because I've been behaving all week long with my diet. So I'm going to get the weigh-in knocked out, then head over to Mooyah afterwards. Yeah, that's strategic. I'll be enjoying a double Diablo on a fresh baked potato bun. You can swing by Mooyah for lunch today as well. If you're not in the Highland and Blue Bonnet area, they've got a location on Segan Lane just north of Industriplex. Mooyah does it a little bit differently. You're going to get those fresh vegetables. You are going to get fresh ingredients. You are going to get the certified Angus beef. You are going to get a potato bun that was baked that day. Yes, it's a fantastic experience. And by the way, it's a Friday. You're heading into the weekend. Have a little milkshake there. I mean, might knock down your productivity in the afternoon and slam down a burger and a milkshake, but so worth it. The milkshakes are made with real ice cream. This isn't soft serve. This isn't powder. This isn't the garbage you're going to get from other places. The milkshakes are made with real ice cream. Swing by either location, Segan at Industriplex or Segan just north of Industriplex, or Highland at Blue Bonnet for Mooyah.
I love the chips.
The chips? I've never had the chips.
They make their own chips.
At Mooyah? Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm never going to know that because sweet potato fries.
Those are good too. My office is across the street.
Oh, really?
We're in the At Highland building.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I eat Mooyahs once a week. and
I wish I could eat them more.
But also Izzo's and Lit Pizza.
Every restaurant just popped up out of nowhere right there.
Oh, yeah. We moved into Spring Lake Subdivision, Blue Bonnet in Burbank in 1993. We were the first house to break ground out there. And that whole area was nothing but open fields. And you look at it now and you go, oh my God, where did all this shit come from?
Yeah. Yeah. Felt like Doc Brown talking about the Twin Pines Mall.
Yeah.
Hey.
Clint says we've turned into voyeurs. What?
International Left-Hander Day.
That's today?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should have known that.
I didn't know we were celebrating.
Facebook bashing from a guy who rode the team for 2 years, filling 16 viewers per show. Well, first of all, that's not even close on the numbers. We had a reach of a few thousand per show until something changed, and all of a sudden it dropped down to about 400. Then it beefed back up to about 1,100 before it was all said and done. Half of those accounts are the Facebook jail backup accounts. Yeah, we've turned into voyeurs, says Clinton. That's a good point. Facebook is what MLB needs to be: controversial and mysterious. It's true.
Gotta have some controversial players, man.
You're begging people to follow the show. No, I asked. That's just a straight up lie.
I mean, you know what a big problem with baseball is that you're gonna laugh at it. Not enough that their players have off the field issues.
You think? You think? Hey, how we get time out here? He wonders why he can't reach a goal weight and stay there. Now you just don't know what you're talking about. I have not reached my goal weight yet, but it has. Okay. I've been on my way towards that goal weight thanks to the folks at Go Slim Nutrition. I've been on my way towards that goal weight, and I'm less than 10 pounds to go. It's not bad. Losing 68 pounds. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it. But the last time I lost the weight, I kept it off until the flood. That's fine. Kept it off until the flood. I was kind of proud of that. 4 years. A lot of people who yo-yo don't last 4 years. But not having a kitchen and bringing home to go every night took a toll. Took a toll. LOL, rent-free in your head. That's you have a very secure or high opinion of yourself. No, I read most of the comments, if not all of the comments, just to
keep the audience engaged.
Yeah.
The online, to let them know, hey, we're listening. We're paying attention to what you're saying.
I mean, I could solve this pretty quickly. But I highly recommend Go Slim Nutrition. I mean, the program's been phenomenal. I was when I was there last week, Vicky was telling me about somebody who came by who heard about it on the show. She was shocked that I'm actually doing it. She's like, "Wait, he actually does it?" Like, she's like, "Have you watched the show? Like, side by side picture." I mean, I'm down 46 at this point. Probably be 48 by the time I weigh in today, or with this week's weigh in. Wait, 48. I'm headed to 195. I got to backwards do the math on that. 53 plus 5 would be 58, right? 50. Okay, looking to lose 58, not 68. So. But she was like, "Oh, that's real? I thought that was just a commercial." It's like, I'm not going to do it if it's not real. You silly goose. .652, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo rolling right along. Later on in the show, Foodie Friday, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, is going to be coming your way. The folks from Blend are going to be in the house. Looking forward to this. It's set on the calendar mapped out. Filet carpaccio. I'm down. Totally down.
I'm wondering if I shouldn't stick around.
If you want to, you're more than welcome to hang out. It's not until 8:30. 8:35 technically once we're through with news. But we'll probably be talking a lot of wine pairings as well. I mean, the name of the place is Blend. Come on. That's where we're going to go. But that's presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. If you want to learn more, you want to get recipes, want to learn more about the nutritional facts, the 10 vitamins, nutrients, and protein that you get with beef, beefitswhatsfordinner.com is the website. We'll tell you more about them later on in the show. Right now, headline: hackers behind historic crypto heist have reportedly returned $256 million in stolen funds. Less than a day after wreaking one of the biggest crypto thefts in history, hackers have reportedly refunded more than a third of their loot. Tell me all about this Poly Network hit.
So Poly Poly Network is a crypto wallet. It's not an actual currency. It's one of these places where you store your cryptocurrency, and some hackers created a fake cryptocurrency, injected it into this wallet, and they wound up stealing the $650 million. And then the folks at Poly Network, they put out this really wonderful letter saying, please give us the money back. We're gonna tell the police on you. And so the criminals actually gave $256 million of the $611 million they stole. They give it back. Like, criminals all of a sudden got a conscience.
So, but why though? This is the part that bothers me.
Yeah, I don't understand. Just because they put out a letter and said, hey, we're going to tell the police on you.
Well, were they hoping they wouldn't get noticed at all? Like what was the movie, Office Space, where they wanted to get a few tenths of a penny per transaction and they screwed the decimal point? Were they hoping they weren't being noticed at all and had their tail between their legs? Or is there some kind of magic number that they realized they violated something bigger and they scaled it back down to a smaller crime?
Or are they so brazen that they're trying to boost, they've got a bunch of their own cryptocurrency money, and they want their cryptocurrency value to go way up by bringing attention to it? And so, I don't know.
That one's intriguing too.
I mean, this just makes zero sense why you would steal $600 million and give 256 of it back.
Right.
What's going on in your mind that, you didn't give all of it back?
Guys, we only needed $400 million. That extra 256, the $400 million, we got our student loans paid off.
We can live in
Bought a
Bora
house.
Bora. We're on the beaches in Bora Bora forever with our $200 million left over, $400 million left over. What? Really? I mean, that just makes no sense why they would give the money back, and unless there's some other deeper motive, and I think that's we're going to follow this story because this just happened yesterday.
Right.
So as more news of this comes out, this is one of those things on Tech Gumbo we follow over and over and over.
The article says, considering how authorities across the U.S., Russia, and China, and across the European Union have been shifting towards tougher crackdowns on crypto crimes, they've been shifting towards tougher. This is tougher. It's not hard to see why these attackers might have gotten cold feet. Did they get cold feet? I mean, it's like they had the bank heist, they got in the getaway car, they made it out to the interstate, they're crossing state lines, and they decided then to turn back around.
And say, okay, look, here's a $20 bill from the $100 we stole.
Right.
Really? I don't think cold feet's not what's going on here.
So their own cryptocurrency. Do we know what the details on the new cryptocurrency are?
No. They took a lot of Shiba coin and Binance tokens, but they had created their own, roughly $1 million. They stole $1 million of their own custom tokens that they had injected into the Poly crypto wallet. And so, they stole $1 million of their own money.
Is cryptocurrency going to be like the hip-hop game? Like you get street cred when you get shot? You get street cred in crypto world when somebody hacks in and steals you?
And so the conspiracy theory, that's is this what's going on here? They're trying to tell on themselves to help boost their own, get some attention to their currency?
When was the last time you saw an article about Shiba Coin or Binance? You probably see them all the time, but for me, no.
I see them mentioned in articles, but I don't own any cryptocurrency.
All press is good press, right?
That's what they think. I've heard that before.
We've got about 2 minutes left here. Joe Biden puts out an executive order demanding 50% electric cars by 2030, pushing new incentives to go along with that.
So this is my favorite story of the week.
Yeah.
Because a week ago we were talking about how one of the big four accounting firms did a study across the world. 41% of the people are interested in the next car they buy to be either electric or a hybrid model.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot last week.
And this week, here comes Joe Biden with his executive order saying, I want 50% of the cars made by the year 2030 to be electric or hybrid, generated vehicles. And it's like, wow, did the folks in the Biden administration say, let's look for an easy one. Let's go.
But here's the thing, though. Are you cutting off your nose to spite your face when you do this? There's already the hype behind it. If the public push is going to be there, why do this and run the risk of saying, I already know half the country voted against me, like, or voted for the other guy. Why would I bother getting my nose in this? Like, we got 1 minute left. We got to talk about what's coming up on the show this weekend.
So we're going to spend a good bit of time talking about. There was a 41 questions that you need to ask about technology, and we go and they're kind of philosophical questions about, you know, how is technology impacting your life? Is it making you happy? We're going to spend a lot of time doing those. We only get to about 5 or 6 of the 41 questions, but it's a really great article. And we'll probably be going back to those questions over time.
We're going to address 2 of them during the news at the top of the hour, which is coming your way shortly. In the meanwhile, Tech Gumbo, the full serving of Tech Gumbo, available Saturday and Sunday at 4 right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Of course, it's available anywhere you get your podcast. We have it on demand at talk1073.com. But yes, wherever you get your podcast, you can download the full serving of Tech Gumbo. He is Haggai Davis, joins us every Friday. Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Coming your way right now. Top stories and trending are after that on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk.
Protect your retirement. The Presley Group
Question number, where was it? 14 on the list. Does the use of this technology bring me joy? Does that not bring us right back to that Facebook topic?
Yes. And that's one of the, we do talk about that one question because, I mean, if you're using, and we were using the in the terms of like Waze or Google Maps, and if that's does that really bring you joy to use that technology?
Google Maps?
Or
that's
Waze?
An interesting one. Yeah, that's an interesting one because I'm showing my age, but I remember the days before that where if you were driving somewhere, you either needed a map or you needed directions to know where you were going, or you just were winging it.
A couple of months ago, my wife and I were going to the Abbey in Covington.
Oh, yeah.
And
where I
we were going to
graduated.
the activity center. We weren't going to the Abbey, we were going to the activity center.
Yeah.
And yeah, back in the day, 40 years ago, we'd have had a folded map and missed 2 turns, and it would have taken an extra hour to get there. But we had Waze, turn right, turn left, turn right, turn left, and we pulled right up to the front door on time.
Yeah.
And so in that way, it made me feel really good because it brought joy to our life because we went to an activity center that and it was a great event that we went to.
That sort of trip, driving used to be an adventure. Now it's just following instructions. Like Legos. Legos, you used to build whatever the hell you want. Now you buy a Lego kit, and I'm a crotchety old man. Now you buy a Lego kit, it's like you have to build this truck with this kit. This kit is specifically built. No, you should buy like 1,000 Legos and just build whatever the hell your heart desires. There's no exploration.
I agree with that. And so Haggai, my son was talking about living up there in New York with that kind of technology. He can now decide, hey, I want to go eat Indian food tonight. Instead of just the 3 restaurants within 5 blocks of his house, now he can go anywhere and find something.
Right.
So that does bring joy to him because he gets to go explore and try something new because here's where to go find it.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, sorry. But by the same token, Facebook, when you're sitting there watching, if you're using this technology, you're watching everybody else have fun on their vacation in the mountains or at the beach, and you're stuck at home not seeing it, now is it really bringing you joy?
That's a problem with society, not the technology, though. If you do not have the ability to see somebody else's good time and be happy for them, but rather be upset for yourself,
right.
That's a selfishness that has to be cured, not
The fear of missing out is real.
Oh, very much so.
And so when you spend so much of your time face down in your phone instead of looking at the world around you, then that's a problem. And so yes,
We've got a friend whose or friends I should say, whose son is recently home from St. Jude. And to follow his journey and to see every picture of his progress along the way is genuinely heartwarming.
Yeah.
Dude, CJ's kicking ass. He's getting there. He's getting there. And every slight step backward, able to feel emotion for someone else rather than just How does this affect me?
And see, that's the good use of technology.
But
That's
why
where
can't we
it's-
transfer that level of empathy and caring over to, oh, look at them. They're out skiing this weekend. I hope they have a good time. And that's the last thing you think about it. I hope they have a good time.
Yeah. Because so many people don't try and go out and do things anymore. They don't.
Yeah.
They're so worried about what's on their phone.
Yeah.
They don't look up and see the world around them, and that's a problem with technology. It really, really is.
Well, question number 27 falls in the same line. What limits does the use of this technology impose upon me? A lot of those limits are outside of the technology itself, but they go right back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's us. All right. Appreciate you, man.
You bet.
Oh, I did the, speaking of technology, I sat with Greg for Rotary this week, and he kind of walked me through it a little bit. I wasn't there early enough to do the setup because I was toting James around, but it looks simple. The, was it StreamYard? Looks simple.
Oh, yeah, it is. StreamYard's awesome. It's a real great program. I like it a lot.
Oh,
He
what?
texted that. That was a text to me.
Oh. I don't know which one I missed. Oh, yeah, no, I'm... .706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. LSU students, faculty, and staff get ready for a vaccine mandate as soon as it has full approval from the FDA. Dr. Tate says it's on the way there. We'll have the audio of his message coming up in our next segment, along with what's going on down in New Orleans, where Mayor LaToya Kant says you've got to be vaccinated in order to get into a restaurant, bar, venue like the Superdome or other places, or pop negative, on a test on the scene. Got audio there as well. Oh, and Attorney General Jeff Landry says that's no bueno. He says the city is setting themselves up for a big lawsuit because of that. We'll talk about all that in a little bit. Hey, thanks again to Haggai Davis for popping in for a Cup of Tech Gumbo. We do that every single week. You can catch the full episode of Tech Gumbo Saturdays and Sundays at 4 right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Also, we're talking metabolism later on in the hour. Yeah, Dr. Jennifer Rood from Pennington Biomedical Research Center is going to hop on board to talk about a recent study at Pennington and what it means for us out in the real world. Right now, though, time for top stories and trending. Let's go.
Now, top stories and trending on Talk 107.3 FM. Brought to you by Complete Collision Center, with locations in Zachary and Baton Rouge. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Choose CompleteCollision.com.
Well, Southern University's Law Center is moving classes online until August 20th. Had a COVID case. A positive COVID case within the campus has caused the closure. Officials said the Law Center will be remote until August 20th. During that time, the building will be sanitized for safety measures. A toddler was rescued in the Baton Rouge area Wednesday after being kidnapped in Iberia Parish. Louisiana State Police say it was first alerted to the abduction, which happened in New Iberia around 5 p.m. Wednesday. The agency said the suspected kidnapper, 25-year-old John Michael Mason, took the 18-month-old and fled to EBR. Around 6 p.m. that same day, Officers found Mason outside a home in the area with the child. Mason was taken into custody without further incident. The toddler was recovered safely. No other details related to the kidnapping were immediately released. Mason was booked into the East Baton Rouge jail for aggravated kidnapping. Baton Rouge and LSU leaders are talking stadium capacity plans for the upcoming football season. They've got Today's the 13th. They've got until September 11th to get it squared away. A sea of fans in a sold-out Death Valley is a sight LSU hopes to see once again, but Tigers are still looking at the state for guidance. Earlier in the week, they told WBRZ they're gearing up for a normal season, but are willing to adjust at any point if guidelines change. Important to note here, the governor's current mask mandate expires at the end of this month, or September 1, so there will be a good 10-day swing within there. Now, as far as the overall numbers are concerned, they might have to hammer that out ahead of time. Quote, everything LSU football would do in Tiger Stadium would be as if it's an outdoor venue, which it is. If the state, the CDC, and the governor's office says 100% capacity, no masking, then that's where we'll be at, says Cody Worsham with LSU's Athletics Communications Department. Yesterday, Coach O was asked about the capacity and responded it's not in his wheelhouse, but the fans play a sizable role in each game. Boy, he couldn't be more right about that, could he? Mayor President Sharon Weston Broom says East Baton Rouge has no plan to mandate the coronavirus vaccine, despite news that New Orleans will soon require the shot at restaurants, bars, and other venues. The mayor told our news partners at WBRZ yesterday she does not plan to enforce a vaccine requirement, but is still encouraging residents to get the shot. As of Thursday, East Baton Rouge had a 41.74% vaccination rate. We're going to talk about it a lot more in our next segment. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cant announced at a news conference Thursday, people must provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to enter many businesses starting next week. I wonder how recent that negative COVID test has to be. I could show you a negative COVID test. Came from last Halloween. I could also show you proof of vaccination. My papers are in order. What? It came from last Halloween. I tested negative a couple times before testing positive.
Right, that's great.
I know. Hey, you need a negative test? Here you go. There's my Chem 1010 test from
A little bit
LSU.
of whiteout, change the year.
Right?
You're
Right.
good to go, man.
Yeah, like a Horseshack's report card. Boy, that's a dated reference. Sorry. More than 45% of Louisiana's population has gotten at least the first shot of the coronavirus vaccine. As of Thursday, Louisiana has initiated 2,125,483 total vaccine series, about 45.72% of the state's population. Just over 38% of the state is fully vaccinated, meaning they've completed the two-shot Pfizer and Moderna series or gotten that single-dose Johnson & Johnson. More than 86,000 people have gotten a COVID shot for the first time since August 5th. That's just 1 week ago. That's 86,000 shots in a week. Yesterday, the number of patients being treated at hospitals with COVID-19 was up to 2,901. Among those, 386 were on ventilators. The state also reported another 5,268 cases overall. Positivity rate, 12.07%. That's a significant number. That's been on the decline all week long. Oh, by the way, testing's been ramping up, re-ramping up, I should say. We heard from Oxner earlier in the week talking about drive-through testing is back. So while the number of tests is going back up again, keeping an eye on that percent positivity rate because that's going to play out to be important even if the overall numbers stay the same. Sadly, another 54 people died of the virus since Wednesday. Let's look at your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Britney Spears' father has agreed to step down from the conservatorship that has controlled her life and money for 13 years. Several outlets, including celebrity websites TMZ and CNN, or no, TMZ would be a celebrity website, CNN just claims to be a news outlet, reported that James Spears filed legal documents saying while there are no grounds for his removal, he's going to step down. So magnanimous is James Spears. The decision comes after months of public and legal wrangling by his daughter and, in recent weeks, her new attorney. The filing says James Spears will fight the petition to force him out, but will work with the court and Britney's attorney to, quote, prepare for an orderly transition to a new conservator. The conservatorship is doing me way more harm than good, said Britney. I deserve to have a life. James Spears was fighting to remain in control in court filings as recently as last week.
You know, when I look at Britney Spears, I think, that's someone that deserves a life. She's had a tough go at it.
Oh, don't you even.
Never accomplished anything. Has always had the scratch and grind for everything she needed. I'm glad this happened for her.
You know what? put me in charge of your paycheck and let me give you a pittance whenever I feel like it.
No, I
your
agree
attitude's going to
that she
change
should
in a
get-
heartbeat.
Oh no, I 100% are on her side. I love how she said
her money.
I love how she said I deserve to have a life.
No,
Like,
I know.
Your life's been pretty good.
I
so
know.
far.
Yeah, you've been living in that suite in Vegas for a couple of years.
How many social media warriors are going to come out and say that they did this though?
Oh, the
Then
free,
hashtags work.
the
Brian.
hashtag Free Britney crowd. Oh, bank on that. That's totally happening. But I mean, look, she's like performing the food court of the Mall of Louisiana. So, and now she is where she is. Had a little stint with Crazy in the middle, but we're good. 714 Talk 107.3 FM. That is your top stories and trending. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about vaccines on campus in New Orleans. What's the AG got to say? We're hearing about it all next. Thank you. I couldn't read your lips on that one.
For whatever reason, the beef council popped up for a second time.
Okay.
Get that one in the first hour.
I did like a yeah. I did a 30 in the first hour.
Like it popped up again,
Yeah.
which is weird. Mattress, beer.
Oh. Byron says angry 70s dad who misses his turn and no seatbelt laws meant you can catch a backhand if you misbehaved. I miss those days. Yeah. Yeah, those days transferred into the 80s, by the way. Debbie says if one shot is acceptable, why get two? It depends on which vaccine you're getting. The Johnson & Johnson is set for one shot, but it has a slightly lower efficacy than Pfizer and Moderna. If your vaccine is set up to be two shots, you take both shots. It's not like you get one of the Pfizer and you're, all right, we're good enough. I wonder what Condon needed. Probably. All right, hey, did you see I started a folder for today yesterday? Okay. Yeah, it's like 2 minutes long. I want to play the whole thing. He's got his own background music. It's cool. And then there's two different LRN stories on the... So I'm going to do on the vaccines. It's cuts 10 through 15. Yeah. I looked up and saw Aaron Judge walking out the corn. Hey, children of the corn. Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. Taylor's got spooky music going today.
That's a good one there.
What is that one?
It's Phantasm.
Phantasm?
Never seen that?
No.
Awful movie. Watch it.
Okay. I'm all about watching awful movies. Don't get me wrong. We were talking about the Friday the 13th series in our last hour. I'm so down with those. They're terrible. They're terrible, but they're fun. Like, a horror movie can either be really, really scary or really, really bad and be just as entertaining either way. Like, making fun of a horror movie is every bit as entertaining, probably more so for me. I don't like being scared. But every bit as entertaining as, like, a horror movie doing what it was intended to do. Are you a big horror movie guy?
I'm a huge horror movie guy.
Really?
Absolutely.
This doesn't surprise me. I'm this like nice little confirmation of who you are.
Yeah, there's very few I haven't seen.
So like the Saw series.
Major one.
Well, are you more the jump scare guy, like the what's behind
I'm
the
both.
door?
However, I have seen all the Saw movies. It's one of my favorite movie franchises.
Okay, Saw kind of messes with me a little bit.
Okay.
The Exorcist, and granted I was really young when I saw it. The Exorcist screwed me up big time.
I'm not big on The Exorcist.
We saw the house in the stairs when we were in D.C. a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we saw the house. We didn't realize we were seeing the house when we saw the house. We realized where the stairs were, so we took a picture on the stairs. And then when we got back to the Airbnb where we were staying, and I was trying to show my kids the scene from the movie where the priest falls down.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Show them the scene where the priest falls down. One of the fans of the movie who put together their own YouTube video on it started with the house, and I'm like, whoa, we walked right past that house. So.
Now, me and my girlfriend had a deal a while back. She was going to make me watch the entire Harry Potter series, but in return, she had to watch the Saw series.
I feel like she won. I feel like in the trade-off there, she got the better end of that deal. Does she not like horror movies?
Oh, no.
Really?
Saw's fine. Saw's not really a horror movie.
Oh. But I like watching like the Friday the 13th, where you could just make fun of the whole time. They're humorous at a certain point.
They're not bad, yeah.
All right, let's get back on track here. LSU. Louisiana State University's president announced yesterday that in the near future, the institution will likely require students and faculty to be vaccinated against COVID-19. The mandate would come only after the FDA fully authorizes one or more of the current COVID-19 vaccines that are in use across the United States. Now, what's going to be interesting here, and this will play out in real time, there's no way to bat this around ahead of time, but the people who are going to have an argument to where if the FDA approves full approval for Pfizer first, so you can mandate the Pfizer, but then how do you separate the people who have had Moderna versus the people who have had none, or the people who have had Johnson & Johnson versus the people who have had none? They have not followed the mandate. They've gotten a vaccine, but not the one that's been fully authorized, and therefore not the one that's been mandated. Tell you what, let's hear from Dr. William Tate. He put out a little video message about this on Twitter yesterday. It runs about 2 minutes long. Got some nice subtle background music. Here's Dr. Tate.
Hi, I'm William Tate, president of LSU. This is an exciting time. Welcome Week is here. A few days from now, we'll be seeing many of you on campus. And soon after that, we're going to be welcoming over 30,000 students to LSU. Last week, we announced our fall COVID protocols. I recognize that many of you may not be excited about following those protocols, but I want to speak to you as someone who was a student some time ago. The one thing that I recall about that time was getting to know my fellow students, engaging, laughing, joking, while we studied and just enjoyed life on campus. We're trying to provide you that opportunity right now in the middle of a pandemic. I know it's not normal, but it's the new normal that we're going to have to engage. We're expecting approval of a vaccine by the FDA, perhaps even in weeks. We plan to mandate the vaccine at that time. I think it's wise and a proper course for you to consider right now getting vaccinated ahead of that particular time. I want to encourage you to take advantage of what science has offered us, an opportunity to experience a new normal where we can engage together without the anxiety and worry of actually becoming extremely ill. We're going to provide you with regular updates about the status of the pandemic on campus and making sure that you can be as safe as possible in light of what we're learning from wastewater testing, monthly testing that we're going to be doing with students who are not vaccinated. Our goal is for you to understand what's happening with your neighbors here on campus and the community at large. This is a great time for you as an incoming student, whether you're a first-year student, graduate student, whatever your status. This is a time, though, that we can come together and protect one another and enjoy the new normal, which I think is going to be quite special here at LSU. Thank you.
Too much with the music?
No, I like it because like it's a serious one, but if you mute him, it sounds like a commercial for like a Disney trip.
Right. And the whole thing has this vibe of like a kid that just got cut from a little league team and his favorite uncle's trying to cheer him back up again. Buck up, trooper. The part that has me curious about the whole thing is Pfizer's going to go first, right? Or at least all the talk right now is that the FDA is not approving all three at once. Pfizer's going to get approved before Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. Full approval, no longer emergency use. So if you got the Moderna vaccine, it doesn't apply to the mandated vaccine. It doesn't apply to the one that has approval and therefore is mandated. So if you got the vaccine, but it's not the one that counts, How are you any different from someone who hasn't gotten a vaccine when it comes to what's required of you to be on campus or to be in a classroom? Waiting on full approval, I think most Dr. Tate and previous LSU president Tom Galligan said that's the sticking point, is the full approval from a legal perspective, from a perspective of what they can and can't do as a university administration. There are other vaccines you have to be on campus. So why would this one be any different? That's what they were waiting on, was the full approval. But I'm curious to see how it plays out when it comes down to I'm good to go. I had the Moderna vaccine. Well, but that's not the one that was approved, so that's not the one that's under the mandate. So how are you any different from someone who had zero vaccine? You can call that argument stupid if you want, but I guarantee you it's coming up. I guarantee you it's going to be a point of contention. Down in New Orleans, speaking of points of contention, I'm going to start with cut 10, Taylor. New Orleans becomes the first city in the state to require proof of vaccination, fill all your papers, or a negative COVID test to enter places like restaurants, bars, and other indoor venues that have a higher rate of transmission. Mayor LaToya Cantrell made this announcement yesterday. She says it goes into effect Monday, but she urges venues not to wait.
The best way forward for our public health and our public safety is to mandate that everyone show proof. We want you here and we want you vaccinated. This is our visitors as well.
So I've been toying with the idea of just putting my vaccine card in a laminate, like having like a backstage pass, like on a lanyard, you know, and just wearing it everywhere. Like Wayne and Garth backstage at Alice Cooper concert in Wayne's World, just showing it everywhere. Hey, I got it. Okay, excellent. But that's joking. That's like fun and games. This turns a corner to where the city is telling businesses what they need to require of their clientele before they can be allowed in their establishment. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll revisit that in a minute. So just push pause right there. Places you'll have to show proof include gyms, sports complexes, stadiums, including the Superdome, concert venues, music halls, adult performance venues, because COVID's what you got to worry about there, and casinos. Cantrell says showing proof is a better option versus capacity restrictions.
In terms of limiting capacity, we're not doing that. We got to get our people vaccinated, and our route is also making it mandatory.
Hard-pressed to argue with that one, because capacity restrictions, I mean, did they work last time? Did we see where numbers came down? Now, the capacity restrictions were at the same time as wearing a mask to begin with, but nonetheless, did they work? If they did, why wouldn't we go back that route? Oh, because it hurts the business. The mayor also warned critics not to look for loopholes or a reason to be an exception. Just look for your vaccination card and be prepared to show it. She said she didn't have an issue dining last week at a restaurant that asked for her card, and neither should others.
No problem. I was proud. Had my card laminated. Bam! Pulled it out. And then my friend who I was with, she had her LA wallet. Bam! Pulled it out. And we had a great time dining.
I'll take things that didn't happen for 500, Haldane. Let's pretend that the mayor of New Orleans was carded for her vaccine card when she went to the restaurant. Sound effects and all.
I mean, just what I got some bam! Bam! Oh, God. So let's see. This is how policy works now. I did it. I was comfortable with it. Everyone else has to do it. It met my personal preference. Everyone else has to do it. This is where we're at. There's going to be a week's grace period, by the way. So while it starts Monday, they're not going to be throwing you out on the street for the first week. August 23rd is when it goes into full effect. This is going. I said we revisit this. This is going to be a little bit problematic. You heard about it in our news at the bottom of last hour. You'll hear about it again here in just a minute. Attorney General Jeff Landry, who has had issues with mandates across the board, whether they be vaccines or masks. And we'll have Jeff Landry on. I want to say it's on the books for 8:35 next Wednesday. The AG says this right here is opening the city up to huge lawsuits.
Now, whether those in the city will take that particular action, we certainly would encourage them, and we would want to assist them in it, but we're going to need some plaintiffs out there.
He says this requirement's going to hurt the city, and I can agree with hear him out. Here's Jeff Landry saying that it's going to hurt the city.
I mean, I think that the mayor is only further crippling the New Orleans economy at a time when we can't afford it.
Because if you are traveling, if you are vacationing, if you are a tourist, and New Orleans has a bit of a tourist economy, do they not? I mean, they attract a few people every year. If I'm mapping out my vacation for the fall, and I'm looking at where I'm going to go, let's just say I'm looking at, I don't know, New Orleans, Vegas, New York. What's required of me when I get there? What's required of me if I'm going out on Bourbon Street and I know I'm going to have a few? Am I going to be required to show this everywhere I go? Yes, I am. So not only do I have to make my way to New Orleans to meet required standards, but I've got to continually meet them as I'm there. No, let's go to Vegas, bro. Let's do Vegas instead. We'll hit up New Orleans next time. Maybe. Oh, by the way, one more from Landry. He says if a bar or restaurant owner chooses to require proof of vaccination or a negative test, that's their prerogative.
I think that once you go into the public arena or dealing with a public building, especially one that's owned by the state, her litigation problems only increase.
That's talking about the Superdome. Sorry, that was the back half of that. If you are a business owner, it should be up to you, which is cool. That's right. If you are a business owner and you want to put a sign in your window that says no shirt, no shoes, no service, that's up to you. If you want that sign to say no vaccine, no service, that's also up to you. To have this as a push down is a different game. And what he's talking about the Superdome is it's a state-owned building within the city. I think there's going to be more pushback from the businesses individually than the Superdome, but that's neither here nor there. Hey, let's talk with Pennington next. Byron, that's so subtle. Maybe it's easier to assign a proof of vaccination number, requiring it to be tattooed on the left forearm.
That was back when Netflix was only mail. No, yeah, I ordered Golden Child off of Netflix. First movie I ever ordered off of Netflix.
Underrated.
That was, remember, they used to send it to you in the mail.
Oh, really?
Talk 107.3. Yes, ma'am. You gonna give us? You got about 2 minutes, and then we'll have you on. All right, thank you. There's only one thing to do when you're having a doctor on talking about COVID. The Undertaker took off.
Hey, some big news. Eric Bowling is back on Newsmax every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Watch Eric Bowling on The Balance, fighting against big media, woke politics, and cancel culture. This week, Eric is exposing Joe Biden's inflation and how it can
Want Joe Biden. Need Joe Biden. Long as you got him. It gets stuck in my head every time I hear Joe Biden's name. I said you can have whatever you like.
There was a group of like high school kids, because you know they can vote right before the election.
Well, John Curtis, they can. Because they've been held back 3 times.
And they were doing the Backstreet Boys. It was Backstreet's Back.
Yeah.
And they changed the words to Joe Biden. And he was standing there dancing, like trying to be as cool as possible. I'll have to find the video. It's somewhere. I mean, I saw it on like social media somewhere. It's a good one. I'm Jay Ducote, and I don't work here.
I mean, he is in Mexico.
He's detained.
Oh, my mic was off? For Rich?
I didn't know what he was going to say about the
Yeah.
question. I didn't miss it, so
All right.
he had me kill it.
Yeah, Taylor's just being precautious because we had an incident about 2 weeks ago.
I've
Oh,
never
by the
done
way,
it all.
kill my mic for a second. .737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. So the Pennington Biomedical Research Center, they're out in front a lot of times when it comes to weight gain and weight loss and a number of other things that affect us in our own backyard. Such an unbelievably undervalued resource right on Perkins Road. Recent study: metabolism changes with age, just not when you might think. 4 Pennington biomedical researchers were part of an international team of scientists who analyzed the average calories burned by more than 6,600 people as they went about their daily lives. Their participants' ages ranged from 1 week old to 95 years old. They lived in 29 different countries. I can't wait to find out more about this study. That's why we welcome in Dr. Jennifer Rood, Associate Executive Director for Cores and Resources. Jennifer, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Brian. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
No, glad to have you back on again. Glad to be talking about this because it never ceases to amaze me. You guys stay ahead of the curve. You stay ahead of what we need to know, and especially with something that affects so many of us in South Louisiana. Let's start with what got you on this one with metabolism. What got you looking into metabolism in the first place?
Well, as scientists, we're really interested in metabolism because everything we do uses energy, from breathing to eating to riding a bike. And so the food that we eat is our fuel, and how we use or store that fuel is metabolism. Now, Pennington Biomedical is one of a handful of centers in the world that measures total daily energy expenditure using something called stable isotopes. So stable isotopes, specifically doubly labeled water, is a heavy water that we can give to individuals and measure how many calories they're burning. And this is not in the laboratory, but out in a free-living individual. As you go about your daily business, we can tell you how many calories you're burning throughout the day. And we know very little about how many calories people are burning over the lifespan. So a group of scientists got together and we decided to pool all of our data. So we've been doing this kind of research for 30 years here at Pennington, and we teamed up with about 8 or 9 other labs across the world and put all of our data together to figure out what happens as we age.
What does happen as we age?
So as we age, metabolism changes, and it changes in ways that we didn't imagine before we did this study. So this study was very powerful. And what we found out was there are 4 distinct phases of energy expenditure. So when a baby is born, for about that first month, they have the same energy expenditure as their mother. Now, we have to adjust for body size, which we did, because we know as people grow and they're larger and have more muscle mass, they have more energy expenditure. And in that between the first month and 1 year of age, there was a huge increase in total daily energy expenditure. But then what happens between about age 1 to about age 20 is we see a decline of about 3% per year in energy expenditure. And then there's another shift. So from about age 20 to age 60, we have a stable energy expenditure, which is really contradictory to what we've always thought. You know, you hear about women going through menopause and their metabolic rate slowing down and them needing fewer calories, but this study really doesn't support those findings, because it's not until about age 60 when we see a decline in total daily energy expenditure. And by the time you're about 95, you need about 25% less calories than you did at age 60.
This is amazing. Like the thought that your metabolism is not like the drop off doesn't happen in your 30s or 40s. I mean, that's been so commonly understood that it's baffling to hear it out loud.
It is, and until we were able to take data from, like you said, 6,500 data points from infancy to age 95, men and women in 29 different countries, we weren't able to have the power to be able to develop these new findings.
Got to ask you about the difference between men and women here. Does the age correlation stay the same regardless of sex?
It does. So again, we have to adjust for body size. So we have to adjust for fat-free mass. So the body is divided into fat and fat-free mass. And fat-free mass is your organs, your muscles, your bone, the water. And once we adjust for that, because men typically have higher fat-free mass than women, but our metabolic rates are the same. So the amount of calories that we need on a population scale, men versus women, are the same.
All right. I know I'm about to be hated by every woman who's ever given birth by asking this question. Does a woman's metabolism drop after giving birth to a child?
So again, if we adjust for body size, we know women gain weight during pregnancy. Right. But if we adjust for body size, their total daily energy expenditure stays the same.
Interesting. Very interesting. And yes, I would imagine, I don't know if y'all were able to extrapolate just pregnant women, but carrying a baby would cause you to burn more, wouldn't it?
In terms of total calories, yes,
Yeah.
you're burning more because your body size is increasing. But if we adjust for that size, it's the same.
How much does lifestyle have to do with this? How much can we make this fluctuate within ourselves for our metabolism? Like, what if you work out regularly versus if you don't? Does it really sway a whole lot?
Yeah, so obviously there's a big variation among individuals. So you may burn more calories than someone else who is your same age and size, but the pattern will stay the same. So between 20 and 60, your total daily energy expenditure is going to be pretty stable. And then after about 60 is when it's going to decline. So you may be above or below that line of identity in terms of individual calories that you're burning, but the pattern will stay the same. So there's some switch that kicks on about age 60, which causes you to decline in your total daily energy expenditure.
So from that span of 20 to 60, just is there an average or a mean, or is there a number that we should all be kind of on the lookout for what if we want our caloric intake to match or be at a slight deficit to what we burn? What's a kind of a magic number, just a general number?
Yeah, so we can't really do that because it's all based on body size. So the more muscle mass you have, the more fat-free mass, the higher your energy expenditure will be. But the key is that there are some things that you can do to affect your metabolism, and you kind of hit on one of those, and that's exercise. So if you're looking to boost your metabolic rate, then you can increase your aerobic activity, and you can increase your resistance training so you can increase your muscle mass. Another thing that's really important is hydration. So, most of our body is water, and so we need enough water to be able to function efficiently and make those organs work like they're supposed to.
When it comes to exercise, were y'all able to find a better way that affects metabolism overall? Is it like short spurts? Is it one elongated period throughout the day, or is it?
So that was not something that this study looked at.
Okay.
So this study was strictly looking at energy expenditure across the lifespan.
Where do we go from here? What do we do how do we utilize this information?
Yeah, so I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg here. And so this is the first time that we've really shown that metabolism changes with age in a way different than people have thought about before. But one interesting thing that comes out of here is that as we see declines in energy expenditure after age 60, that's the same kind of time point that we see a rise in chronic disease in people. So heart disease, high blood pressure, other chronic diseases. And so this aligns with that there's some switch that turns on in the body that's relating the decline in energy expenditure to chronic disease. So this has great potential in looking at medications and doses and treatments for people with chronic disease.
Dr. Jennifer Rood from Pennington Biomedical Research Center is our guest. We are talking about a recent study that takes a look at our metabolism throughout our life. And got to ask you a question that was submitted actually via text. Does sleep play a factor here?
Sleep does play a factor in energy expenditure. So, and believe it or not, we have technology here at Pennington Biomedical to actually divide that energy expenditure into activity and sleep and something called basal metabolic rate. So BMR, you may have heard that term, but that's the number of calories that you're burning each day just to exist, just to breathe, without any activity. And so we're able to parse those things out, and that's probably a next step for us in looking at this data.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's a number that everybody should know in their life. I mean, that's vital to knowing that you're taking in the right amount, you're consuming the right amount, and consuming the right things along the way.
And we have a number of studies here at Pennington, a number of clinical trials, and I would encourage anybody who's interested in learning more about their energy expenditure and metabolic rate to check out our website at www.pbrc.edu, and we have a variety of different clinical trials that can help you with that.
She is Dr. Jennifer Rood with the Pennington Biomedical Research Center. I'm fascinated by this stuff, and I'm so glad that we have a resource like you in our own backyard. It's when you look at what goes on in this country, especially when it comes to weight gain and the constant fight for weight loss, getting to the root of the problems is always a positive.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brian. I'm happy to always share our findings with you and the people in Baton Rouge.
Absolutely. Love having you on. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Doc.
Bye.
Bye. 749 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Okay, so from 20 to 60. I mean, that had to hit his news. At least it did with me. Kind of surprising. Hey, we're getting you to your money now here in just a minute. Let me tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision. Before I do that, though, 2 locations, one up on Plank Road in Zachary. The other is at the corner of Bluebonnet and Perkins in Baton Rouge. Bit of a smaller location at Bluebonnet and Perkins, but there's nothing they can't do there that they can do at Zachary. And when you go to Complete Collision Center, you know you're being taken care of because they've got the certifications to back it up. Ford, Honda, Acura, Nissan, Infiniti, Hyundai, Kia, Fiat, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, all certified. Or they are certified with all of those. They've also got the iCar Gold Class certification. Fewer than 15% of body shops nationwide have this certification. iCar makes sure, or having that iCar Gold Class certification, it makes sure you know the latest techniques. It makes sure you know about the changes in the body that's underneath it. Make sure you know how to find hidden damage. You can learn more at CompleteCollision.com. If you need to give them a call, 658-1493 is a great place to start, but I'd start with the website, CompleteCollision.com. Here comes your money now. No, not yet. Was I supposed to do that there? I didn't know if I had Complete Collision right there or not. Okay. All right. Did I do Baton Rouge mattress yet? I did not.
No, you have BRP or mattress.
Jeez. I'm not even that far behind, and it just feels like a lot. It always feels like a lot on Friday because I know the last half hour of the show has got to be Foodie Friday. But I haven't missed any.
That's something that recently popped up. Yeah, that's something that recently popped up. It's not going to play because there was an X over it. Okay. But yeah, that's like his live read. Okay. You can see here to say Haldane. That's what that is.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. For the ones going above and beyond. For the ones reaching out, helping out, and lending a hand. For the ones people count on. You can count on Grainger. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Backed by 24/7 customer support and specialists to help with hard-to-find products. Because you've got everyone's back. We've got yours. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger. For the ones who get it done.
Yeah, but after that. Sorry. Oh, shit, all right.
Put me in some audio board. It's fine with me. Yeah, I talked to Jay yesterday. He's like,
Visit murphylawfirm.com and your decision will be easy. Learn why we should be your attorney. Get to know us before you call main office.
You're actually better off. You're talking about versus flat salary? Yeah. You're,
there's 3 of us. I won't do it every game, but like for 3 games for football, video wise, he's like, gotta be on Saturday.
yeah. Right. Right. Like, I do this show and Jay's show in the afternoon. I make the same either way. I come in for hurricane coverage and pump 18 hours a day out. I get the especially while you're still on that side, I have every time I'm on, I have the opportunity to make more lives. Like I have the opportunity to sell myself more. You have that opportunity too. It's just a hell of a lot harder to get a live read as a producer. Sucks. I'm this close to getting this day in history sold. I may have it sold just in time for you to go. Oh, it's gonna be a good tequila tonight. I hope Casamigos is back on the shelf. Troy says all I'm thinking is good times. Good times. Oh, funny. Troy, don't be mean. She's a scientist. Is it good?
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $100 off install with the purchase of 40 Bridgestone or Firestone tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Definitely tastes that smell of vanilla.
It's Brothers Bond. The two guys who were apparently on a show called Vampire Diaries became friends from the show. And they were brothers in the show, and they came out with that now. That's like what they do.
Started on Vampire Diaries and Dare published a straight bourbon whiskey.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah.
That was such a bad joke. It was so terrible. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Oh, that was abrupt. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got CBS News coming your way in just a couple minutes. Going to tell you about, well, we're hitting the outside end in just a little bit. Going to tell you about some things going on outside of East Baton Rouge Parish shortly. First, though, I got to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. BRPT Lake is the website. BRPTLake.com is where you're going to find them online. The folks at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy, they've been around 58 years in Baton Rouge. They basically introduced physical therapy to Baton Rouge, and they're looking to change up your perception of physical therapy. We all think about if you're recovering from like a car accident or a major injury, or if you're like rescuing children from a burning building and you fall out a window, like Taylor does every weekend when he puts on his Batman costume. So sorry, uniform. I didn't mean that, Taylor. Uniform.
You can call it costume. That's
no.
fine.
That's demeaning. It's demeaning. You dress for the job.
I call it a suit.
I get it. But when you're a superhero, you're a superhero. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, are you hunched over a computer all day long? You're picking things up using your back, not your legs. These things, they take a toll on our body. They cause nagging pain that Baton Rouge Physical Therapy can help you with. Get back to being your best you. Think about physical therapy. Give them a call at 917-9185, 917-9185, or check out brptlake.com. Hey, speaking of Baton Rouge Physical Therapy, every day they bring you the outside in. Let's go. Oh, I just had an idea. We're going to do something during the news. All right. We start off in Iberville Parish, where a two-vehicle accident shut down I-10 East at the Gross Tet exit last night. Iberville Sheriff's Office said around 9:30 p.m. August 12th, a semi and a car crashed into each other, causing multiple injuries. One person needed to be extricated and, I believe, air-med to the hospital. The interstate remained closed for a number of hours last night. Over to East Feliciana Parish, where authorities have arrested a suspect accused of killing a man and then dumping his body in a creek over 2 months ago. The sheriff's office said 32-year-old Cavarius D. Grinner of Baton Rouge was arrested yesterday in the killing. Deputies found the body of 38-year-old Billy Washington in Little Redwood Creek near Ethel back on June 9th. Washington was floating in the water with a gunshot to his head. Investigators developed Grinner as a suspect in the past week. Federal marshals arrested him in East Baton Rouge yesterday. He was moved back to East Feliciana, booked on a charge of second-degree murder. We've got follow-up on that boating crash from Point Coupee Parish. The lawyer who fled the scene of a boating crash that injured kids is also a prosecutor for the Lafayette District Attorney's Office. This is according to our news partners at WBRZ, their investigative unit. That lawyer, Chris Richard, left the scene of a Sunday boating crash on False River, according to Sheriff Renee Thibodeau. Richard was located at his home in Karen Crow near Lafayette while investigators were still gathering evidence at the scene over in Point Coupee. One child was injured so badly, Air Med had to bring him to the hospital. Another child went by ambulance. A third declined treatment. Sources tell WBRZ when agents with the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries located him in Karen Crow, he did not submit to an alcohol test. He also gave no solid explanation as to why he left the scene. Hey, 3 new appointments to the out in Ascension Parish to their public schools. You've got Mary Daze is the new supervisor of TAP and teacher development. Julian Surla, the new associate principal of Donaldsonville High School, and J.C. Dunbar, the new associate principal of Gonzales Middle. That is the Outside In presented by BRPT Lake, getting you to CBS News. Taylor's got This Day in History next. Can you grab just the BAM? Just the BAM. And save it just as BAM. Today's folder's fine. Ooh. Shit, I don't remember. 10? No. Hang on. I printed those separately. No. It's easier to grab it from LRN. It was 12. I think it was 12. Yes, 12. She didn't have an issue while she was dining. You know what? I didn't have an issue ordering a bottle of wine with dinner. Everyone now has to order a whole bottle of wine with dinner. I had no issue with it. I was cool. Helps the bottom line, helps business. You all have to order wine now. BAM! Just one BAM. Just whatever's the most over the top of the two BAMs. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one. Here we go.
You know what? Can you put that on a button? We need like that all the time. Bam! You know what else? Can you look up it's going to be somewhere in my folder, but I don't know where. Just look up the words Phase 2.
Oh, yeah.
And then copy and paste the BAM on the back of the Phase 2. Or on the front and the back. BAM! Phase 2. BAM!
Working on it. That's what it says, actually.
Working on it.
Oh, man. Not a great day. Not a great one.
Byron, I don't know what your comment means. That's not a thing. Yeah.
I consider myself somewhat fast foodie.
In what world is that a thing? Did Michelle? Where's my... Go Slim, is it already run in the log? Do you know where it is in the log?
You only got 2 left.
Go Slim and BR Mattress. Is one of them in this segment? Shit. Yeah.
They always put them in like the middle of the break.
Yeah. Which makes no sense.
I'll run through 3 commercials and be like, oh, cool, that's a live review.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
All right, this Friday morning drive is the best one.
Ashley got a little shy there.
She did.
You'll find some delays here and there, but nothing excessive and no major crashes or big breakdowns. 9 minutes from the split to LA 1. Traffic under the speed limit slightly between Acadia and Dalrymple, but not bad. 15 minutes Cuban airline, a couple of pockets here where folks are traveling about 34 miles an hour at average. So leaving Santa around O'Neill and on Sherwood Forest, these are slower spots. Let's check out those live traffic jams and see what's going on. We are seeing those slowdowns right around College Drive.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbells, where you can get up to $100 off install with the purchase of 4-knee Bridgestone or Firestone tires. Visit ShawbellsTire.com to learn more.
And then I'll 805 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP, Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Taylor Sharp producing. We got Michelle Southern from the Only in Louisiana podcast coming up in just a little bit. We got Foodie Friday with Blend in the house a little bit later on this hour. Oh, which it is Friday. That's a good thing. It's a good thing that it's Friday. The weekend coming. We get to dial it down a little bit.
Dude, it's been a long week.
It has been a long week. It really has. Well, you know, it's been a long week at work. It's also been a long week for a lot of folks because it's back to school week. The back to school week is the most tiring of all the weeks, is it not? I mean, you want that routine back. And by about this time, not next week, but the week after that, you'll probably be a little bit more in the flow, as it were. But this first week is brutal. That being said, though, I look forward to Fridays because I know on Friday I'm headed over there to the corner of Bluebonnet at Perkins to go visit Vicky and her team over at Go Slim Nutrition. Been on the path for a little while now. My BMI is on its way down. I hate BMI. It's such a stupid number. But my BMI is on its way down. My percentage of body fat on its way down. I am narrowing in on that goal weight. I've got fewer than 10 pounds to go. And forget about the Fat Boy 50 that we did with Franz. My goal weight's actually well under that, but narrowing in. And I have my weigh in every Friday at 10 a.m., which would be a good time. If you're available, swing on by. Come by and say hi. Try out some of the food. I tell you about the food all the time. The bars, the shakes, they're fantastic. Love them. I eat a lot of them just or after I did the program the first time. I kept eating the bars anyway just because they're a nice little, meal replacement. But it's not about the food. As good as the food is, it's not about the food. It's about the accountability. The fact that I'm going over there and the fact that I go over there every single Friday, you sit down with Vicky or whichever member of her team is you're meeting with that week. You sit down and you talk about everything you did over the course of the week. You talk about what you've done right, what you've done wrong. You talk about how you do better. And it's all a positive experience. It's all a motivating experience. But it keeps you on the path. You never get too far off the path. You have a, bad weekend. It's okay. You regroup on Monday. You get back after it. You have a big dinner planned with somebody. Don't worry about it. You don't have to uproot your lifestyle in order to stay with the Go Slim program. 763-9627 is the phone number. 763-9627. Go Slim, G-E-A-U-X, slimbr.com is the website. But I'd recommend just stopping by. Tell them that I said you can come in, you can grab a bar. Well, let's try one out for sure. Take a sample. Know that what you're getting is quality and meet the folks there, because what you're getting with quality with them is even better than the food. GEAUX slimbr.com, or it's the Rouse's Shopping Center on Bluebonnet and Perkins. Swing on by and see them. All right. Every day at this time, Taylor takes us back in time for a little segment we've dubbed This Day in History. Let's.
All right, we start out in 1889.
Oh, don't we do that every day?
I think
really,
yesterday we started out in like 1640, so no.
No, 1492 was yesterday.
Okay, yeah, Columbus, that's right. So
that might have been Wednesday.
even further off. 1889, William Gray of Hartford, Connecticut patents the coin-operated telephone. The first payphone.
The first payphone, invented by William Gray.
Patented sung by Maroon 5. 1907.
I mean, it could have easily been called the Gray phone. You know, that was so much better when it was written out. I'm just scratching that off my paper. We'll move on. Go.
1907. First taxi cabs operate in New York City.
Wow. Okay. Were they yellow too?
They were.
You don't know.
It gave Robert De Niro one of his first big breaks.
Yeah, it did. That's a good movie.
Never seen it.
Casino?
No, Taxi Driver.
Oh, yeah. That's an even better movie.
I've seen Casino. I don't think there's a taxi in that movie.
It's not?
I don't know.
All right.
1948. The United States successfully defends its Olympic basketball title with a win over France at the London Games. Get this one. Check out this high-scoring game, 65-21.
Yeah. Wow.
That's like the LSU Oklahoma score from a few years ago.
Dude, that's so wrong. Hey, how many did Durant have?
Durant? Oh, he wasn't playing.
I mean, a team that dominant, you know Durant's going to join it, right?
Well, no, they only had 65. He waited till they won at least two of these.
That's true. Plus, they played defense, apparently.
That's true, yeah. 1961, construction of the Berlin Wall begins in East Germany.
Yeah. Heard about that one on. Well, no, I heard about that one on First Light this morning. First Light airs right here on Talk 107.3 before the sun comes up.
Which doesn't make
No, by the time it's over, there's still no First Light.
Yeah, 1990.
Street Light. Hey, this day in 1935, the first roller derby began.
Roller derby, okay. Gotta love some roller derby. You know, I used to want to get into the roller derby business.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's one problem.
What's that?
Can't roller skate.
That's a hindrance.
It's a big requirement, apparently. 1990. American soul singer Curtis Mayfield becomes paralyzed from the neck down after stage lighting equipment falls on him at an outdoor concert in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize that's how that happened. Okay.
Yep. Lighting equipment. Spoiler alert, the lighting guy, he was fired.
No kidding.
Yeah. 1997. The very first episode of South Park is aired.
1997.
97, South Park.
Wait a minute. When were you born?
96.
South Park is only 1 year younger than you?
Yep.
Not even a full year. Wow. All right. Moving on.
2016. American swimmer Michael Phelps ends his career at the Rio Olympics as part of the winning 4x100 medley relay, earning a record 23rd Olympic gold medal.
That's crazy. That's a lot. He still couldn't beat a shark, but that's a lot.
Well, I mean, come on. I heard he could outrun a shark on land, though. He's a man of multiple talents. So the shark may have him in the water, but he's got the shark on land.
So in the triathlon, it just comes down to the bicycling.
Yeah. Birthdays.
That's not an original joke. I saw that one somewhere.
Birthdays. Fidel Castro, born on this day in 1926.
Happy birthday.
What a guy. Annie Oakley, born on this day in 1860.
All right.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Boogie?
31 years old. Boogie Cousins, yes, sir. Appropriate for Friday the 13th. A little bit of scary movies. Alfred Hitchcock, born on this day in 1899. If you want to call Hitchcock movies scary, I don't think they are.
They mess with your mind.
The McCourty twins, Devin and Jason, 34 years old today.
Okay. It's good for twins to be born on the same day.
Yeah, typically. Former LSU linebacker and current Baltimore Raven Patrick Queen, 22 years old. Should have been the Rookie of the Year last year.
Should have been.
Shout out to Chase Young. Overrated.
No shout out to Chase Young ever.
Overrated.
Very much so.
Hey, remember when Chase Young played Michigan and it was Ohio State's biggest game of the year? You want a fun fact about that?
Sure.
Me and him had the same number of sacks in that game.
Bro.
And Sarah Huckabee Sanders, 39 years old today.
Hey! Danny Bonaducci's birthday's today.
If I knew who that was, I'd be excited.
Debbie Mazar's birthday is today.
If I knew who that was, I'd be excited.
Debbie Mazar, who's been on this show.
The name sounds
Boom.
familiar.
She was in Goodfellas. Oh, she was in Entourage. She's the manager, the business manager.
Was
from
she Ray Liotta's wife in Goodfellas?
No, she was Ray Liotta's side
Oh,
chick.
that one. Yeah. All right, deaths.
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle dies on this day in 1995.
Yeah.
Florence Nightingale, 1910.
Okay.
And Julia Child, 2004.
1996, Tom Mees. ESPN's Tom Mees.
Tom Mees. National days.
Yeah.
It's Blame Someone Else Day. This guy did it. It's Friday the 13th.
Oh, man. Blame Somebody Else Day? All right. I'll remember that one.
It's International Left-Handers Day. Shout out to me and Brian.
Darn right. The only show in Baton Rouge where both the host and producer are left-handed.
That's got to be true, right?
I think so. I just made it up.
I don't even think you're spreading fake news right now. That's got to be true.
It's got to be.
National Filet Mignon Day.
Filet Carpaccio coming up in
I know,
Foodie
so
Friday.
close. If it was Filet Carpaccio Day, it's a National Kool-Aid Day.
That does not pair well with filet.
Speaking of, Alabama has a freshman on their football team. His name is JaQuincy McKinstry, but on their official roster, his name is Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That
So
is
shout out to you,
fantastic.
Kool-Aid. It's your day, buddy.
Kool-Aid. If only we were his given name. Like the coldest? That's
Yeah.
coming to LSU. Is he still choosing LSU?
Yeah,
the coldest?
Dakota's Crawford's still a commit. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I was disappointed that his middle name wasn't actually to ever do it.
It's Kool-Aid. It's Dakota's Kool-Aid.
The coldest Kool-Aid. Dude, those are NIL dollars waiting to happen. The coldest beer on tap.
He can get sponsored.
Is it walk-ons?
Dakota's can get sponsored by like Yeti or something. or
Oh my God, Arctic Coolers.
Shop online for groceries day.
Shout out to the Therns app.
That's right. Shameless plug. And that is your This Day in History.
The plug would have shame, but it blames someone else.
That's true. Yeah,
Don't
you
forget
didn't do it.
Don't forget to download the all-new Talk 107.3 mobile app brought to you by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Listen live. Find out what you missed on demand. Even set an alarm to wake up with this show. Hey, I wonder, if you set an alarm to wake up, can you control what the alarm sounds like? Like, if I wanted to wake up to...
Bam!
Can I do that? The all-new Talk 107.3 mobile app brought to you by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Quick break. Michelle Southern's coming up next.
I didn't know you were going to do that.
I didn't tell...
I haven't, but I had it up. So.
I was trying to find a way to get it back into that segment. Janice Rossi, 2R. No, she's not Janice Rossi. She's the next side piece. She's the one that's there when he gets busted. When they bust Henry Hill in Goodfellas.
Hair?
She's not the blonde. She's the
the
next
other one.
She's
Yeah.
the dark hair one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did we interview Debbie Mazar? Was that when Chuck was on? I don't remember.
No, I remember that.
She told, no, you know what? She told her COVID story about Italy. She was the coked out chick, yes. But she's so good in Entourage.
Good movie. Did you ever see the movie?
Yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good. How was everyone?
Could not be better.
Awesome.
I haven't listened to the Julia Letlow episode. I finally got caught up on the Clay Higgins yesterday.
Yeah. I have an extra headphone I got for you. Isn't that the story of our life in radio?
I have a gaggle of them in my office.
Well, you need to go over there.
Here. Oh, you go? Okay.
Yay, hero. Thank you.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Kool-Aid McKinstry. Brought to you by Gatorade.
Who's your Foodie Friday?
Blend.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, wine, cheese, steak. Is it plain? Yeah.
Bam!
That's right. 819 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Boy, she is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to the drops. Mary LaToya Cant from down in New Orleans. Bam!
Is that what she said?
That's what she said.
Oh, I
she
did
said
not
she had
hear
no
that.
problem showing her proof of vaccination when she went to a restaurant and just bam! Right with the waiter.
Bam!
Gotta love it.
Wow.
Michelle Southern's in right now. You know her for rocking your face off on afternoons on Eagle 98.1. Also from the Only in Louisiana podcast, which I am admittedly an episode behind. I had to change up the way. So normally I would listen to your podcast while I'm on the treadmill.
Yes. Are you slacking on your treadmill?
No, I changed the way I do it. Instead of driving to the gym and getting on the treadmill for 40 minutes and then going to work, going to lift after that, what I started doing was running to the gym. And I can't, for some reason, I haven't been able to.
Can't listen.
It's got to be music.
Yeah.
I'm like full on Swedish House Mafia on the way to the gym now. A lot of David Guetta.
Wow.
So,
well,
I've got to find my new outlet to get back on my Only in Louisiana podcast because you've been crushing it.
A lot of people tell me they listen as they walk in the evenings, so that's kind of how I envision folks. And then another reason why I launch a lot on Sundays is because people are chilling. Podcast listening
Easy
on
like a
Sundays.
Sunday morning.
That's
Darn
right.
The podcast has replaced the paper.
Yeah.
I mean, if killing an hour consuming content while sipping your coffee.
Yeah, it's crazy, the podcast movement. My son listens to them all the time. The NBA podcast guys.
Yeah.
He's like obsessed with the NBA, and he listens all the time.
Yeah, there's just so much content, and it keeps growing.
Mm-hmm.
But sifting through to find the good stuff is the hard part, and
Yeah.
Only in Louisiana is the good stuff. You were like, I know I sound like I'm gushing every time you're on, but I'm like, I'm impressed every time out. It's been a home run from chicken boxing through Clay Higgins. And now Julia Letlow, which admittedly I haven't heard this one yet.
Yeah.
So
well, you did have her on though last week, and
Yes.
she was kind of on the same media blitz that the latest episode of Only in Louisiana covers, and that's what we talked about. And I think you and I had text messaged earlier about this, but they were calling here looking for me when I was trying to track her down for the episode. And she and I had, gone back and forth on Facebook, but of course you got to go through the proper channels. Her husband, her late husband, Luke Letlow, and I graduated from high school together at OCS in Monroe.
the number of times that small world stories just trickle all the way down to either you or me is just insane.
Yeah, it is.
How is that even possible? You went to high school with Luke Letlow.
Yeah, I did. And so I have, I feel just that closer personal connection because of it. I mean, Luke was the nicest guy. We were both 41 years old when he died. We were both in drama together. Luke was in...
Whoa. That I did not see coming. Maybe for you, but not for him.
Okay, so it was under the drama umbrella, but Luke was in debate. So
that's a lot more revealing.
That
okay.
makes a lot more sense. So,
I
but
can see you straddling between debate or the spring musical.
I did.
Either way.
I did a little bit of debating, but that was the guys in the suits, and Luke just always he was voted in our class at OCS the most likely to become president of the United States. He always had it in his heart to explore politics, and he was successful every step of the way. And it's just very tragic the way that his life ended.
Yeah.
And I named the podcast "A Story That Deserves to Be Heard" because I think that Julia, who is the first Republican woman from Louisiana to serve in Congress,
right,
deserves our attention with her story about, how Luke got sick and then eventually ended up tragically losing his life before the vaccine was even available to him. And, one of the things that she has said to everybody, too, is, that it never occurred to her that there would be people who were hesitating, that it was, she said it better than me in the episode. But another thing about her, and I'm sure that you experienced this when you interviewed her, is how upbeat she remains, how, just wants to tell her story. And, she always just seems to express it in a positive way, which I think has a bigger impact on people than, say, hollering.
Yes. And Luke was a purist. I mean, Luke was the most genuine article there was. And every time I talked to him, because he was the press guy for Doc Abraham.
Yes, for 6 years.
So every time that's how I got to know him. And every time I talked to him, you could just, anybody who had an inkling for politics and then gets jaded by politics, talking to Luke for 5 minutes was reinvigorating.
Yeah.
And if Julia is picking up his torch and carrying it, which she is doing a remarkable job of that, she's doing it with the exact same spirit he did. And that's, to me, that is even more amazing.
Yeah, she is an incredible person in the way that she is picking up where, she, of course, no one would know like her what Luke's mission in Congress was. And so, she obviously won by a landslide too. But, on the subject of Luke just being the nicest guy ever, one of the things that I told the Congresswoman when I interviewed her for the podcast was that when I started at OCS, I was in 10th grade. So it wasn't easy to start at a new school at that age.
OCS.
Ouachita Christian School.
There you go.
Sorry.
No,
in
that
Monroe.
could be Office of Community Services.
Sorry. Ouachita Christian School in Monroe. Luke was the first person that reached out to me that was, it's kind of juvenile to say it this way, but was nice to me. And he just was that guy who remembered your name and he knew you and he was just the nicest guy.
Yeah.
And Julia is the exact same way. They're just a delightful couple, and I can't tell you how sad what happened to him was.
Well, because, and this, I don't want to take it down this road too far, but he wasn't the over-the-top anti-COVID guy. I mean, if you're a Republican, you get glossed as that from the start.
Right.
But he played it really close to the vest. He adhered to, I mean, we all, nobody was 100% with the mask and the sanitizing and all that, but he was as strong into that as everybody else was. I mean, you might have found a picture or two, maybe, where it's like, hey, let's take off the mask and take the picture. But I mean, he played by the rules, and yet it still was. That's how invasive or how dangerous this has been from the start. Luke was a rule follower from the start.
That's a good way to put it. A rule
it contributes
follower
to the level of how sad the whole situation, how sad his passing was.
And I'm really proud of Julia for being so brave in her media blitz that she did last week. And she was on Good Morning America. She was on one of the TV morning shows. Of course, she was with you. She did Louisiana Radio Network with Jeff just to get the story out about what happened to her husband and how serious this is. And again, she just is somebody that deserves to be listened to and to have her story told time and time again. She's being just so brave about it. So it was a pleasure to have her on.
Absolutely. So does she tell any stories aside from that in this episode?
What do you mean? Like, yeah, she did. She told, she told the story of initially how he got sick. He wanted to hold a news conference from his from the hospital when they transferred him to LSU Shreveport, I want to say. But of course, he never got that chance. She talked about her kids and just how much faith they have and how proud she was of him. So, yeah, we got a little bit deeper, based on that personal connection that we had too. I told her a couple of stories about Luke too, and I know she appreciated those, and she told me that she did. So it was just, I don't know, it was a delight.
I'm particularly curious about her introduction to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Because that's a completely different... You're in the belly of the beast at that point.
She seems to have done just fine.
Okay. I would imagine if anybody's going to, get a grace period, if you will, it would be her. But just being thrown in like that, and while she's running in the special election, to have people coming out saying stuff like, you have young children, you need to be home being a mother, and it's like, wait a minute, which party is which here? But it just to have things like that flung at her very early on, and her just,
Yep. She's
Jay-Z style, shake that dirt off your shoulder.
Exactly, taking it with stride. And, she's writing bills. One of the bills that she initially introduced is to actually have people with COVID stories like hers put into the Library of Congress so that they can be heard, so that their voices can be heard too, about this time period. I thought that was awesome. She seems to be doing a great job.
And another thing I like about her, and this has nothing to do with the podcast, just about her
no,
in general,
that's fine.
is we have something different from just about every congressperson we have. Our delegation brings a different specialty and expertise to Washington, D.C.
They really do.
Garrett Graves is our coastal guy.
Gamut.
Senator Cassidy is our doctor. Julia brings an educational background, and that is going to serve us very, very well moving forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Only in Louisiana. Where can folks get it?
Good. They can get it anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's available on all platforms. I believe Apple is the most popular one that I've seen so far. But my next episode, I'm going back to crime. The Scott Rogers episode was so popular. So my next episode is going to dive back into a famous Louisiana crime story. So
is that all you can tell us?
Yes, I'm not going to reveal anything else about it at this time. But if you subscribe to my podcast, you'll get the little alert that says there's a new episode coming. This will be number 10. So that's how you can find us.
I thought you were going to say Scott Rogers Part 2.
No, not Scott Rogers Part 2.
By the way, if you only listen to one episode of Only in Louisiana, make it the Scott Rogers episode.
Yeah, it dives into the investigation discovery type feel, because I'm an ID just nut. I probably watch way too many murder shows.
Well, there's no shortage of those stories in Louisiana, so you've got content for years.
Right.
She is Michelle Southern. You catch her on Eagle in the afternoon drive, and of course the Only in Louisiana podcast. Yeah, subscribe. Get
Please
your alerts.
Subscribe.
Know when the new ones are coming out. Michelle, thank you so much for hopping in.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Absolutely. Foodie Friday is coming your way next. We got the folks from Blend in the house. That's coming your way after news.
Great, thank you.
Tiffany says she loves the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. You'll see. You know it. You'll know it and love it. Oh, those are my hands.
Yes.
But this is your adapter.
See, that's a true pro.
Yes.
Returning the adapter.
Yes. That's a big
Underrated quality. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Michelle. 2/3 of the Michelles were just there. How's it going? Come on in. Come on in. Scott, nice to meet you.
Do you want us to start bringing some stuff in?
Yeah, let me get this table for sure. I'm running behind this morning. It is ridiculous the number of times it turns into like a Kevin Bacon story. 6 degrees from either Michelle or me. 6 degrees from this floor somehow. I don't know. All right. Oh my gosh. That is beautiful. Okay. I didn't get Baton Rouge mattress in, did I?
No, you gotta get it.
Let me get it in before you.
In terms of limiting capacity, we're not doing that. Got to get our people vaccinated, and our route is also making it mandatory.
Be ready, because I'm gonna call for it since Jim didn't play it.
You coming back in?
I'll toss to it. Foodie Friday is coming your way in just a little bit. We got to knock out traffic and weather first, but first I got to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Mattress. Wait a minute, before I do that, how did Jim Shannon have that Mayor LaToya can't soundbite without the best part? I know. If she's going to drop a bam on you, you got to play the bam, Jim. Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 2 locations, 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City, 18181 Jefferson Highway. I'm not asking you to remember that. It's the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. Florida Boulevard, Mid-City, corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. Both locations have all the same great deals. Both locations have all the same great financing. Both locations, if you mention you heard about them here, you get free delivery. Deals going on as we're getting closer to Labor Day. The Labor Day sales are about to start. No different at Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. But before we even get to that, it's back to school time. If your kid's moving out of the house, moving into an apartment, time to get them a good mattress. If you want them to be productive during the day, it's got to start with a good night's sleep. That starts at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, or they don't even have to be moving out of the house. It is back to school time. They need rest to get a good education at home. Might be time to replace that mattress in the house as well. Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or 18181 Jefferson Highway. Free delivery when you mention that you heard it here. All right, that's everybody. She said Scott Higgins? Higgins. This is just gloriousness. Yes. All right, so what we're going to do is we're not going to get to that until we hit the break.
Okay.
Now, we're on YouTube right now.
Okay.
So we're never not on YouTube. But the way we'll break this down is yes, which I try to give everybody a fair warning before they say anything.
Put my pants back on.
Exactly. Optional. I mean, it's only from the chest up anyway.
Right.
But first segment's going to be all about blend.
Okay.
Who y'all are, how y'all came to be, what you do, what you specialize in, what makes you better than anybody else around.
Gotcha.
Then we'll focus on beef in the second segment. The whole thing's brought to you by the Beef Industry Council. So we take a closer look at the different ways to prepare beef, the different ways that people explore in their own whatever foodie lifestyle.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So.
And then I did bring cheese and wine as well.
Glorious.
So I don't know if you want
Now,
to talk about that.
I do in the first segment.
Okay. So
Yeah.
In the first.
Yeah.
So we can taste that in the first if you want.
Yes.
And pour a little wine.
Yes.
And talk about that.
And I'm also letting everybody know ahead of time. I'm not being rude. I have to go very, very light on what I actually taste.
Oh no.
I have. I'm taking part of a weight loss program, and I weigh in every Friday.
Gotcha.
I did not think that through.
I'll do very small.
Yeah. I need to move my weigh-ins to Thursday.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that.
That's no. It's a very positive experience. But it's I
Did they
need
shock
to.
you into saying that, or you actually?
It's not super sensitive.
Yeah, it's super
That's good.
directional for sure.
This week, Eric is exposing Joe Biden's inflation and how it can kill your money and retirement. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems: Roku, Zumo, Pluto, Samsung, and more. Or download the free Newsmax app on your phone. Watch Eric Bolling today on Newsmax because it's real news for real people.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that
Y'all are Laurel or Maine?
Laurel. Basically Laurel and Third.
No, you're not. The rest of the world has just slipped a gear. Join us weeknights at 6 on Talk 107.3, the new
So because y'all and it's like Visit Baton Rouge is right there, right?
It is.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly. Technically, Cornerstone is between us on the other side of on our building. We're up just a little bit on Laurel.
Coming in.
838 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Not done with the week yet. We don't close it out until we're done with Foodie Friday, presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. That's coming your way right now. By the way, beefitswhatsfordinner.com is the website. Beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Learn all about the vitamins and nutrients that beef provides. Food is fuel, and beef provides you what you need for the proper fuel at every stage of your life. Also, grab some recipes, trade some hacks, some tips. How do you use beef through your foodie experience? Beefitswhatsfordinner.com. More on that a little bit later. Right now, though, got to welcome in Scott Higgins from Blend. Scott, welcome, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. I've been looking forward to this because every week we talk about beef in a different way. We have yet to get into wine pairings. This is our first go at this. So, no, I'm not the afternoon guy. I'm not the bite and booze guy. I'm not Jay Cody by any stretch of the imagination, but I will do my level best to keep up here. Let's start by talking about Blend. Who are you? What do you not? Who is Blend? What do you do? What sets you apart?
Yeah, so Blend's a restaurant wine bar. We're a bit of sort of a hybrid type of space. We have, sort of traditional restaurant seating downstairs. We also have a loft upstairs where we do a lot of private parties and, have groups come in. We have a group coming in tomorrow. It's like a big mom's night out type of thing. And so people can reserve that for larger groups. We focus on sort of smaller plated type of items, really rotate, try to use a lot of seasonal ingredients. We'll talk about that obviously in the next segment.
Sure.
And, we have, I think, one of the better, cheese and charcuterie programs in the city. And then, of course, wine. We are a wine bar. We focus a lot on small artisanal wines. And, that's really who we are.
Downtown Baton Rouge has been an evolution for a good 20 years now, and Blend's been a part of it for a little bit. I mean, a good bit.
Yeah, it started as the wine loft.
Right.
Same building, same everything. And then that was about 16 years ago. And then they were there for about 6 years. Blend took over 10 years ago. And then I've been the general manager there and then took over as sort of operating partner in January of this year.
Okay.
I figured middle of the pandemic, good time to buy a restaurant.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Of course.
Let's talk about the pandemic for just a minute, if you don't mind. Everybody has had to face this battle head on in a different way. Most of the restaurants we've talked to, it's been about the seating capacity and whatnot. For pandemic standards, were y'all classified more as a restaurant or were you classified more as a bar?
Yeah, we are technically a restaurant.
Right.
And we do, again, through parties and different things, we kind of hit those numbers that we need to hit in order to be classified as a restaurant. So we didn't get, I would say, hit as hard as bars did in the early part of the pandemic. They did close for a little while. Again, I wasn't part of it at that time, but been able to come back and kind of open up to mostly full capacity since we've kind of opened up.
Supply side, everybody's had supply side problems. Has that translated to y'all's world as well?
Yeah, it has. Both the wine side and the food side, and also we're trying to kind of update the space. It's been, I said 10 years since Blend took it over, and just ordering something as simple as new plates takes you think that's normally honestly a week-long process.
Yeah,
it's 3-4 months sometimes.
Well, and Blend, you're not just running down to Walmart and grabbing a pack of Dixies.
Definitely
right.
not.
Yeah, the coronets.
Yeah,
no, that's not happening over there. We're going to talk about the wine and cheese in just a minute, but I want to start with just the wine because in the more of the bar world, there are trends that come and go. There are fads that come and go. Wine feels like it straddles both. It's timeless and it's hip.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the big movement now, especially with sort of the younger generation, the trends that we're seeing are people are obviously, grapes and quality of the wine is great, but the younger buyer is caring more about who made the wine rather than the wine itself. And so there's a big movement now. So natural wine has become kind of a hot topic. That's about a 7-hour segment, so we won't get into that. But, you know, that's something we do focus on, like I said, smaller producers who care about the environment they're doing it in, care about not putting chemicals into their wines. And that is definitely something, again, with a younger buyer. That's the trend right now is, you know, younger millennials are buying more wine than ever, but they're caring about who made their wine rather than even the region specific or the grape specific.
You say no chemicals in it. Does that affect from the consumer standpoint the experience?
I think so, for sure. So, you know, there's about 70 plus chemicals you can put in wine that you legally do not have to disclose. About 60 of those are banned in the UK. So in America, we tend to manipulate our wine. So a lot of your commercial wineries, a lot of your sort of grocery store wines have a lot of kind of, you know, manipulations to them. So you can put certain yeast strains to give off certain flavor profiles. You can put something called mega purple in wine, which is
mega purple.
Mega purple. It's a Grenache extract that gives us like really lush kind of juiciness to wine, and it's a cheat code, you know.
Okay.
And so, but I call them juicy fruit wines. So if you've ever had juicy fruit gum,
I have had juicy fruit gum.
it's really delicious for about 2 seconds,
right?
And then you're like, why am I eating this?
But then that's all you need.
That's all you get,
right?
And so with really well-made wine, you know, there's a lot of length in the wine. You get a lot more flavor profiles than just an initial, you know, flavor bomb.
Okay, so while that might be trendy, it also sounds like there's lasting applications. There's reason behind the trend.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, in terms of both sides, you know,
Sure.
the reason obviously from the side that I don't particularly care for, you know, it sells.
Well,
that's usually, you know, when we talk about money, it's what drives the force there. On the other side, again, it's the story, you know, who made this, what's their story, why are they making it, you know, what's their, whether it's family thing or whether they were, you know, we've got one wine on our menu. The guy was a former BMX biking champion, and he decided, I'm done with that. I'm going to make some wine, and he makes these great wines out of Germany.
Out of Germany.
Yep.
Okay. It's the who does it is a big part of throughout the liquor world. I mean, George Clooney and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson when it comes to tequila right now. Rally Cat Brewery here in town when it comes to beer, or I'm a big fan of JT Mellick. They were rice farmers, and they're like, what do we do with all this extra? Let's make vodka.
Yeah.
Like the store, Three Roll Estate's another good example. I hit a lot of the local ones. Speaking of which,
they're all great. Yeah.
But speaking of which, do we have a great local wine, or is this not our climate? It's not our bag?
So all 50 states make wine now. And so most people are surprised by that. Louisiana does make wine. We haven't quite hit the, you know, I would say high quality tier yet.
Right.
Texas does, though. There are a few wineries in Texas, specifically the Hill Country. So we're close to very good wine.
Okay.
But in Louisiana, you know, I think some people are having fun, and I think there's some playful wines.
Okay.
But in terms of, you know, I would say something that would put us on an international stage, we haven't quite hit that mark yet. And our climate is tough. You know, you need big thing in wine is something called diurnal temperature, which is a big difference between daytime and nighttime temperature. So the grapes can get really hot during the day, but you want a really cooling kind of nighttime.
And we don't have that.
We really don't. And also we haven't, because we're so low, we have really fertile soils.
Yes, we do.
And so you really don't want fertile soil for wine.
Really?
Wine should struggle. You want wine to fight, and so you want smaller grapes. They're more concentrated. If you look at most of the areas where great wine is grown, they're difficult areas to grow things in. And, you know, that just makes, again, the vine really fight for its life, and it makes for really high quality wine.
So not only does the winemaker have to have backstory, but the grape has to have backstory as well.
Of course.
All right, fair enough. Hey, you said all 50 states are making wine now. Who does it best in America?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, I think most people are going to say California, but probably where I lean the most is Oregon.
Oregon?
I love Oregon wines. I love the diversity they're doing there. They're also my style of wine. They have a little lighter touch to them. I think they play very well for our climate. So their Chardonnay's a little bit lighter. They're not as sort of oak heavy and kind of big and sort of buttery. Their Pinots are just really stunning. They kind of balance between the sort of fruit heavy California Pinot to the really like kind of dirty and earthy, kind of Burgundian Pinot. They balance the line there, and so
Okay.
you kind of get both kind of qualities. They have a ton of volcanic soil. I like wines that come from volcanic soil. They just give a lot of personality. So, Oregon, the Mount Etna region of Sicily, some really cool wines coming from those areas.
Very cool stuff. Let's start to talk pairings a little bit. I'm about as novice as can be with this.
Okay.
So walk me through. You got a couple cheeses in front of us here.
Yeah, I do.
What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so the first cheese I brought for you, so like I said, we try to really elevate our cheese program. And so there'll be a lot of cheeses that you see on our board that just don't exist anywhere in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And a lot of times not in Louisiana either. So this first cheese is, and I'll give you a little bite here. So this is from Sequatchie Cove. They are about 30, 45 minutes outside of Chattanooga.
Okay.
And this is made in a Morbier style. So Morbier is a very famous French cheese. And so cow's milk, it has a vegetable ash that runs through the middle. And then you also have a little bit of a wash rind. So wash rind cheeses can be quite funky. This one is not. It's a milder version of it.
Very mild.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what that kind of vegetable ash does in the middle too is it kind of takes away some of the tanginess of the cheese and balances it out. This is a raw cow milk cheese as well. I went to this farm about 2 months ago. They're one of the best cheesemakers in the country, in my opinion, for small artisan cheeses.
Outside of Chattanooga.
Outside of Chattanooga.
I mean, I'm always amazed by stuff like that because when you think like a really good cheese, you're not thinking of like Lookout Mountain.
No, definitely.
Well, Rock City, Ruby Falls. Like these
Right.
things don't come to mind. We're going to pick up here in just a minute. We're going to hit your money now. We're going to hit traffic one more time.
Absolutely.
If you're watching us on YouTube, stick around because we will continue throughout the break. And meanwhile, this is Foodie Friday presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Again, beef, it's what's for dinner.com. Beef, it's what's for dinner.com. Scroll through, grab some recipes. Try something new on the grill this weekend. We take you all the way up through Labor Day, the unofficial grilling season, Memorial Day to Labor Day. Of course, here in Louisiana, God willing, that'll continue through tailgating season as well, right? But if you're hitting the grill, do something new. Beef, it's what's for dinner.com is your starting point. Foodie Friday continues next. This is delicious.
I've never had a cheese I don't like. I love cheese.
Oh, no.
There's plenty of it.
All right. I'm going to bring this over to Taylor.
Yeah.
Can you? Oh,
I've got to build
Wait,
That's
let's
heavier than I thought.
leave it there. Can I just take a picture? Or do you want to sit it?
You want me to
I
build
want to
it
show
first?
off to YouTube first. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I
please.
didn't know if you wanted that done.
Let's do that.
Okay, I'll build it while we're...
Yeah.
Are those peppercorns or capers?
They're fried capers.
Okay.
I'll take the picture there, Brian,
Yeah.
and I'll put it next to the one and the cheese.
Okay, cool.
And do it all at once.
While we're in break, let's talk about charcuterie boards because these have like taken over the world.
They really are.
And I mean, it's everything from like someone unpacking a Lunchable on a plate to what's going on here.
Yeah, and I helped, there's a new company in town, Bites and Boards.
Okay.
So I helped her, get her kind of business off, running. She's over in Willow Grove. And so she even has sort of, she calls them Grays to go, but I call them adult Lunchables. Every day you can swing by and pick up, some, boards ready to go for lunches and different things like that.
All right, so we started with the meat as the base here, and then what was this you added to it before the fried capers?
So some garlic chips, olive oil,
okay.
Some fresh olive oil, some garlic chips, some fried capers, and then this is a beet and horseradish crema.
Ooh.
And then I'm going
Beet and
to-
horseradish crema.
This cheese is called Vella Dry Jack. So it's actually a Monterey Jack, but not like your sandwich Monterey Jack. This is the first American cheese to put us on the map. It was an Italian immigrant who came to America.
Of course it
and
was.
Absolutely hated the cheeses in America. And so they invented this cheese. So it's sort of
Cheeses are so underrated.
Cheese is good, man.
It's like,
How long do your money down?
2 minutes. So it's a 1 minute update, and then a 1 minute commercial spot.
finish it
Yeah.
with
So
Jacobson sea salt.
it goes
Okay.
to
Hand harvested.
So
off the
50, I
coast
can
of
get one
Oregon.
in a year.
okay.
And then at 52, replaced.
So you can see, look at these crystals.
Oh, wow, those are thick.
Yeah.
That's That's no joke. Yeah, I'm gonna try one.
In a weird way, not salty.
I was gonna say that.
Yes.
All right. Here, Taylor. We'll show that off the camera right over there, and then the studio's been a work in progress. We've been trying to figure out how to best do this, but this is like the only segment of the week where we do this.
Yeah.
So
Comes a lot.
Yeah, it's
a lot for a little. Thank you.
and you grab the picture for the.
I was gonna do that like with next to the line.
Ah, yes. Move my notes.
I'm a semi-professional photographer, man.
This beet and what else was it?
Beet horseradish crema.
Beet horseradish crema. I'm super hyped for this. And the meat that's underneath it.
Filet from Iverstein Farms.
That's where I wanted to go. Okay.
So that we didn't get to this one, but if you want to try it.
Yeah.
So Caves of Faribault. This is Jeff Select Gouda. It's a almost a 2-year Gouda made in Minnesota.
I stole one of those garlics. I had to try it.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Ooh.
Yeah. Beefy.
This one I like the best. Yeah, of the three.
Butterscotch
Yeah.
and beef. And, yeah.
Taylor, try that one.
You want to try that one?
Great, try that one.
Yeah, it's got the tyrosine crystals.
No, it's
calcium lactate.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you were mentioning the wines, I couldn't help but notice. Like I'm more of a whiskey drinker.
Okay.
And I'm guessing a lot of the same flavor profiles that I like in whiskey would
You would
apply.
like in wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like whiskey drinkers, I find tend to like certainly like Northern Rhone. There's number one, a little bit of a meat quality, but there's this kind of wild smokiness that whiskey drinkers can really kind of get on board with. Wine always has some kind of like jumping off point. So if you're a beer drinker, like
Wait, let's pick up there. 8:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Got just a few minutes to go on the air. We've got Scott Higgins from Blend In, and I'm floored and I'm fascinated. The discussion continued throughout the break. I want to pick up right where we were when we were coming back in. I'm more of a whiskey guy than a wine guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were describing the different wines or the different flavor profiles and whatnot, I found myself like, oh, I would think I would follow that because of what I already know I like in whiskey. So,
yeah, I think there's always, like I was just saying, some jumping off points. So if somebody tells me I'm a beer drinker, I'm a whiskey drinker, I'm a this, there's always sort of a transitional kind of point within wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's something, obviously I think that something that makes us good at what we do is trying to find those, profiles for people, and you kind of help us and we kind of guide you through the wine. And so for a whiskey drinker, one of the really jumping off points for me is sort of Northern Rhone. These are, really nice Syrahs that have this really kind of smoky quality. They're really kind of earthy and gamey, and whiskey drinkers kind of really identify with that. They actually, they just give off a lot of the same flavor profiles, and so I think that's a great, jumping off point. If somebody is, again, a beer drinker, believe it or not, skin contact wines or something called orange wines are a great sort of jumping off point. It almost has like a lambic quality to it, so beer drinkers really identify with it. And so it's a good way for them, to kind of jump in and go, okay, that's what wine is, or what it can be.
When it comes to pairings, is it more about your own flavor preference, or is it more about the food you're eating with it?
It can be both, really. I think there are certain classic pairings that just work exceptionally well, and you'll hear these things. So, if you have a sweeter wine like a Sauterne, they go really well on the savory side with something like foie gras, or on the, blue cheese. You have these kind of classical kind of pairings, goat cheese and Sauvignon Blanc. So those things do really, really well together.
And
but
for filet?
certainly, and for filet, we've got, red is where it's at.
Sure.
So you want something with a little tannin structure in it. And so reds have tannins. And so the fat content in filet, or just in beef in general, especially so the bigger and the more fatty the meat is, the more tannin you want in the wine. So that's why cab and steak go so well together, is you have this sort of heavy, tannic, thick skin grape, a lot of tannins, a lot of, wood aging usually. And so the fat actually tames all that tannin, but then the tannin actually elevates sort of the flavor qualities of the fat. So, on a molecular level, they work exceptionally well together.
It's hard to believe that much science goes behind just to taste good.
Oh, absolutely.
We got about a minute and a half left. What's on this plate in front of me here is filet from Iverstein Farms. This is a great local pairing, a local sourcing here that y'all have teamed up with. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so like I said, we're trying to work with as many local vendors, whether that's with microgreens, beef, anything we can do. And so this is a dish we serve. We have a really very, very fancy slicer in the back of the house. So we slice this incredibly thin. You can basically see through it. And so filet mignon, basically sliced really, really thin. We put a horseradish and beet crema. We have some fried garlic chips, some fried capers. We use a cheese on top called Vella Jack. This is a dry Jack, one of the best kind of American-made
Which we got to sample
cheese.
during the break. Was fantastic.
Definitely did. Very different style, not your sandwich, Monterey Jack type of cheese, aged here. And then, we put a little Jacobson sea salt. So again, we try to be intentional in every ingredient that we put on a plate. And so Jacobson is this really cool salt company out of Portland, Oregon, that literally hand harvest all their salt off the coast, and they dry it in these really cool houses. And so, we just, I think it's just beautiful. And then, a little crostini, but jump in. It's yours to taste.
I'm going to do that on the YouTube side. We
Okay.
got to sign off on air. He is Scott Higgins with Blender on Laurel Street downtown. Been doing it for a while now, and they do it better than anybody else around. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is Foodie Friday presented by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council. We'll see y'all next week. All right, YouTube. I'm diving in on this. I'm going to leave that mistake.
Jump in.
So what do I do here?
I just build it, scoop it up. That's the best way.
Scoop it on up. Look at this gloriousness.
Yeah, don't be shy. Just take a whole.
It's so thin it falls apart.
Oh yeah, so we serve it really
Yeah,
cold.
it's almost like a paste.
But obviously coming to the studio, it's a little different.
It's,
Get all the goodies on there.
I'm a capers guy. I love me some capers.
Yeah, and the fried capers are great because they kind of leaches out some of that brininess, and they just get a little crunch too. So it's both a little textural as well as getting that kind of salty pop.
All right, beet and horseradish crema. I was expecting to overtake the whole damn thing.
No, very light.
It hangs in the background.
Yeah, it's really the kind
In fact, it's actually, now that I've chewed and swallowed, it's starting to show up then.
It partly to rehydrate.
Okay.
Because we're serving this very cold, and we want to kind of beef can obviously dry quickly, so it's a good way to kind of hydrate the beef.
Okay.
So.
Hey, when do you want me to cut?
In a minute, we're not quite done yet. Did you want to come try this?
Yep.
Yes, you
Jump
do.
in. Here, I'll make it.
So does Blaine. So does my favorite thing about Fridays is
They
everybody
all
from
show
sales.
up.
Yeah, I love it. Especially in this.
Jump
This is
in, man.
fantastic.
What
So
do I
this
do?
particular wine. What do we have here with this particular wine?
So this is Montescano. This is a Pinot Noir from Casablanca in Chile. And so probably the question I get the most in the wine world is, where do I find value?
Okay.
I want good wine, but I don't want to pay Napa prices. And so, Napa these days, it's, there isn't value anymore. It costs $500,000 an acre, and that's without vines on it. There's just no way to make value wine at that price point. And so you have to kind of find other regions and other areas that you can get good quality wine. So for Pinot especially, I really like Chile. Basically, if you took Sonoma and you flipped it on the hemisphere, you're in Casablanca. So you get all of the same sort of quality fruit and a lot of the same actually sort of temperature, same, there's a wind that runs through there that cools it off at night. So you get a lot of the same quality stuff. You just don't pay Sonoma, Napa prices for it. And so this has always been sort of a staff favorite. I had a retail store. This sold really well on the retail side. It's just a really pretty, great Pinot Noir that kind of goes with everything that we brought today. So, yeah.
It is it's a perfect pairing, perfect matchup. This is fantastic. This is on the menu at Blend?
It is, yep. It sure
and
is.
Laurel Street downtown, hours of operation would be?
We're open 5 till 11 on the weekends and during the week right now. This is sort of our COVID hours, so 5 to 10, 10:30, we kind of, we see what the crowd's like, and then we kind of go from there. And, so we have the kitchen open till 9 every night. Once we kind of get out of this chaos, we'll move the kitchen back to 10, which was what we used to have, and then we'll pretty much go to about midnight. So, again, we're kind of that hybrid, we're kind of a restaurant, kind of a bar, so we get both sides of the business there.
And you mentioned this at the very beginning. I want to mention it one more time. You've got an event coming up, or a group coming in tomorrow. I think this is for this audience in particular. Who's coming out tomorrow?
It's just a group of ladies doing a mom's night out.
Mom's night out. So get a sitter night. Get a sitter night.
Get a sitter night, and they're just going to come and go, and they actually spread it out over a couple hours so they can socially distance. Some people will come early, some will come late, and that way they're not all on top of each other all night. So because there's about 50 of them, but they'll probably be there 20 or 25 at a time type of situation. So
this has been fantastic, informative. The food is fantastic. The wine is perfect. The cheeses, oh my word. But Scott, thank you so much for coming in today. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
YouTube, we will see you all next week. Thank you.